right, welcome back to the party, everybody. This is Morty, and I am your host, Lutch, aka the Indian Jesus, here to resurrect the second coming of common sense. How's everybody doing tonight? I want to give a big shout out to the replay gang. Thank you so much for coming back to the party, even though you missed the live party. Guys, that is the best part. So make sure you are here every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern, and sometimes whenever I feel like it. So hit that subscribe button, ring the bell, and you will never miss another Indian Jesus live party ever again. Let's also say thank you to my6shirt.com. Whatever your persuasion, they've got something for you. And of course, it is the only place to get your very own The Indian Jesus official merch. Only at my6shirt.com. All right. Let's party. So we got something special today. But I want to talk to you a little bit first, because we're talking about Andrew Tate. You saw the thumbnail, you saw the title. I want to make it clear that the reason that I am covering this is because it is a historical event, maybe. You know, the fact that there is somebody so popular, so famous, and they are, you know, in the midst of a very, very serious legal battle and talking directly to the BBC. There's a lot going on here that is, just really cool, whether or not it has to do with Andrew Tate or anyone else. So what I'm looking to do here is kind of see where Andrew Tate's head is at, what is good with the conversation in general, and all of that stuff. Hey, we got Jay in the building. What is good? What is good? Welcome to the party. Good to see you, brother. So without further ado, let's dive into it. And of course, as always, if you cannot hear the video, please do let me know.
Andrew Tate.
So it starts out a little quiet because the BBC actually recorded this, and then they were like, this didn't go the way that we wanted it to, and so they didn't release it. And so this is Andrew Tate's team recording it. So he's mic'd up for the BBC. He's not mic'd up for this video, but they start quiet and then they get into it.
You've agreed to do an interview with the BBC today.
Yep.
The material is going to be published on television, on radio, online.
Perfect.
We are doing an interview with you because you're facing some very serious allegations.
Correct.
Rape, human trafficking.
Yep.
And also because there's a great deal of concern about the things you say and the impact that they have on young people, on women.
I don't think the concern's about the things I say. I think the concern is for the level of influence I have and the reach I have. I would argue that a lot of the things that are already out there inside of the legacy media and the matrix as a whole are far more damaging than the things I say.
It's the concern about the influence you have being a harmful influence, but let's start with the allegations.
Not necessarily.
But that's a good point. There is a lot out there that is way more harmful than the rhetoric of Andrew Tate. Any way you slice it, there's a lot worse.
A harmful influence. The fact that I'm massively influential over the youth, and I understand that. But it's my influence as a whole which people are afraid of, not necessarily the things I say.
Let's start with the allegations. Have you raped anybody?
Absolutely not.
Haram!
Have you trafficked anybody?
Absolutely not.
Exploited any women for
Absolutely
money?
not.
But you have admitted using emotional manipulation to get women to work in the webcam industry for you.
This is ballsy. This is really ballsy because he's in the middle of this case. He's on house arrest right now, which is why they're doing this interview in his home. And he could, I don't know. That's another thing of why is he doing this? Because it could go well, but there's so many ways that this could just completely screw him over. So he either is kind of in the mindset of like, oh, I got this, rightfully or wrongfully, or he's like, I'm screwed, so it doesn't matter. I'm going to try to spin the story. Hey, we got David Banner and Opus in the building. Welcome to the party, guys. What's good? David says, he did exploit people. That is true. Yes, Opus said he's not a fan He did admit it himself. Yeah. So again, we're not here to be the Cobra Tate simps or whatever. The idea is, like I've said from the very first time we ever covered Andrew Tate, I was saying, look, he runs a cam girl business. So what I would expect if people don't like him is to just throw up accusations like that. Also, what you might expect is that he's doing that kind of stuff illegally. So, until we have charges, until we have anything, I don't know anything more than anybody else does. So that's still the same. Again, what we're looking at here is, what is his state of mind? How is the interviewer doing? And how is this going to play out for the story of Andrew Tate? Opus says, however, what country is he in? The justice system is terrible. Well, he's on house arrest in his home in Romania. So this is his home in Romania. They detained him, 3 months? No charges? Yup. And so they still have another month, I think. Hey, we got Zippy the Strange in the building. Welcome to the party. Said I've come in the soup to bring you. Yes, it's soup. It's word soup. Wouldn't expect anything else, brother. Welcome.
No. Firstly, let's begin let's start at the beginning. I'm facing charges. The first one you mentioned, the rape one's already been thrown out by a judge because there's no evidence of it. Secondly, it's very difficult for me to sit here and have a very frank and honest conversation with you while we're in the territory of Romania about a legal case that's going on in Romania. I have to protect myself. I've agreed to do an interview with you, and I want to be as honest with you as possible. But I can't incriminate myself in any way, and I have to be very careful with what I talk about.
And so that might sound like a weird sentence of I can't incriminate myself. But remember that it's not always about, what you meant by what you said. It's, what they can prove in court. So he may not be, he's not saying like, I have stuff that can incriminate me. He's saying there's something that can be said, that can be twisted. This is the BBC. This is legacy media. So, I mean, it's a weird way to phrase that, but that's exactly what I was just saying.
There are no charges yet.
Correct. There are no charges.
There are no charges,
and I've agreed to speak to you. But I have to be as honest and frank as I can while also protecting myself and following my legal counsel.
So let's talk about what you've said yourself then. You have said on the website, for your original website for the Hustlers University, that you emotionally manipulated women to fall in love with you so that you could get them working in the sex industry for your financial gain.
As I said,
exactly, Zippy.
I have to be very careful with what I say, but let's put it this way. No women are coming out against me and accusing me of doing it.
Yes, they are.
No, they're not.
Yes, they are.
No, they're not. Who?
There's testimony from the current investigation.
The current investigation, which I cannot discuss, which I know intimately and you don't. I can tell you right now that the women who are in this case file, there are 2 American women who have been caught already admitting they're lying, and then nobody else is accusing me of anything.
To begin with,
So before we move on from that, I actually have the article here from Vice, and we can actually we can do this.
When your boyfriend becomes an Andrew Tate fan.
Come on.
In February 2013, Sophie met a man in a bar who later became her boyfriend. Like every rom-com meet cute with this exact storyline, the pair began dating until they came to the mutual realization that they wanted to be together. Neither of them knew that night out, a beer-soaked bar floor, and a chat with a stranger would lead to a 9-year relationship.
9 years.
They also never could have predicted its end. In January of this year, Sophie wrote on Reddit, "I'm so sad losing the person I loved for 9 years, but it's exhausting."
Hey, we got Jeff Pearson in the building. What's good, brother? Welcome to the party. So I think most men emotionally manipulate women in order to get them to agree to marriage. I mean, definitely there is a level of manipulation that happens in all courtship and dating and all that kind of stuff. But the question is, where's the line between what is acceptable and what is not? Well, exactly, David Manor. That is precisely why I'm bringing this to you. So we're the first thing we have to notice is that this is from Vice, and that Sophie is not this girl's real name. So and they talk about this a little bit more. So yeah, spot on, brother.
She detailed how her partner had begun to parrot incel language and made her feel unsafe. He'd even denied she was a person of color. Her post was titled, "My boyfriend has fallen down the Tate pipeline."
Where are we?
In 2023, Andrew Tate's impact is octopus-like and stretches far beyond the internet. The alpha male influencer's deeply misogynistic messaging is
See that, like, come on, Vice. What this is framing. Come on, what are you doing?
parroted on school grounds, in workplaces, and even within relationships, despite his recent arrest and social media ban. The 35-year-old kickboxer and his younger brother Tristan are currently being held in custody in Romania until February 27, while police investigate allegations of rape and human trafficking,
And of course, that went on for another how many months?
charges which they both deny. A Vice World News investigation obtained audio recordings of the older Tate in which he appeared to admit to raping a woman from the UK and boasted to her, "Am I a bad person? Because the more you didn't like it, the more I enjoyed it."
So this is exactly what was it just saying? It's not what you mean, it's what they can imply. And from Vice, this is what the BBC lady is taking to frame her questions. And so you can have these news organizations that are, fake news, and then another organization, because you've reported on it, now it's like, well, it's in the news, so it must be true. Zippy said he's a sleazebag, yes, but the women are also sleazebags unless they can prove beyond a reasonable doubt otherwise. Yelling at windows has split me. What? Hey, we got Lil Toads in the building. Welcome to the party, brother. Good to see you. Loving those BBC women. David Banner says, I would actually disagree that in 2023, Tate's influence is octopus-like. He isn't as huge as he used to be. Good catch. That's absolutely true. They're just trying to make it seem worse than it actually is. But when exactly is this from? So this is from January. So yeah, I mean, definitely by then he was not the same Tate that he was.
Tate has built up a legion of followers made up of mostly teen boys and young men enticed by his motivational self-help videos. But littered throughout his viral clips, which are reposted across YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram, are claims that rape victims bear responsibility for their abuse, that he prefers to date 18 to 19-year-olds because he can make an imprint on them, and that women are a man's property. How Andrew Tate used Tinder and Instagram to try to groom women as cam girls. Women are now hearing those views coming out of their partners' mouths. One woman, who asked not to share her name out of fears for her safety.
How convenient. He's been in a Romanian jail for months. But your safety? Okay.
Was in a 6-week relationship with a Tate fan last year. She initially met him through the gym, but they later matched on Tinder, dated, and eventually broke up due to several undesirable traits, including his appreciation for the influencer.
That sounds like her problem. Unless he was actually doing anything and he was like, oh, Andrew Tate told me to do this, and that was bad, then what are we talking about? If you're a fan of, a band or an artist or whatever, and somebody's like, oh, just because you like them, I can't talk to you. That's not them. That's her.
One situation particularly stood out to the 23-year-old, who was based on the East Coast of the U.S. I had tried opening up to him about memories of past sexual assault being triggered, she says. Before I could even bring the topic up, he started talking about Andrew Tate.
Okay, and when he was talking about Andrew Tate, what did he say? Losers. Losers and people who think that they're cool because they watch and read Vice. That's who watches and reads Vice.
She immediately responded that she would not support someone who said they moved to Romania because they believed laws around rape were more relaxed.
That's not what he said.
He replied, he's top G. He can rape whoever he wants.
See, okay, all right. Okay, that's grounds for being like, you're not the kind of person that I want to be with. But again, we don't know who this is, and this could be completely fabricated. I'm not saying it is. I'm not saying it's not. I'm just saying bring some receipts.
After that, she says, I no longer felt it was something I could talk to him about. A week later, they ended the relationship. The woman said while the situation still hurts, she's relieved to no longer be with someone who holds such views. Sophie, whose name we are withholding to protect her safety, is unsure when her
Stop
partner
the
first
cap.
fell down the Tate rabbit hole. I had seen some videos on TikTok last year warning women to look out for people who listen to or follow Tate. At first, her boyfriend seemed uninterested in Tate, but this soon changed. I guess he started listening to the talks Tate had that weren't about women and realized some of it made sense, so the rest of it couldn't be that bad, she says. He
Stop the
began telling
cap.
Sophie she was holding him
Yup.
back, and she should wait for him while he slept with other women. He began calling me out for being too masculine, whatever that means, she says.
I mean, sounds about right. Lil Toe said, Sophie more like made up. I mean, again, I don't know. This could be completely accurate. But if it is, then why don't we all know what, who you are? The whole idea of believe all women, and me too, is that you are supposed to be able to come out with this stuff. We want to be able to believe women. But this is what we get.
He also started telling her she needed to be more submissive and feminine. Sophie eventually convinced him to stop listening to Tate, but the damage was done. By then his TikTok algorithm had set in a lot of men's rights stuff and other misogynistic content, so it was constantly being drilled in his head. Had also started to put Sophie down, calling her low value, a common term in the manosphere.
Hey, Mark Peterson, welcome to the party with the 199 super chat. Thank you so much, Marty. There you go from Mark. Thank you. And of course, that makes you the new sponsor of the stream. Thank you. And welcome to the party. It says, I inherently sigh when I see Reddit posts are the source. If that's the best you can do, come on. All right, let me change this banner for you, Mark.
Because Shed had more romantic partners than he did. He would send me videos of the men's rights people basically saying he was doing nothing wrong, so he kept doing it, she says. This was on top of constant reminders she was worthless and no one would ever love her, so she had to accept his behavior or die alone. There were also instances of him not taking no for an answer if he wanted sex, and I just had to go with it because he was entitled to me, she says. The pair are now broken up, and it's only recently that Sophie has confronted the scale of the torment she faced. Now I am at a point where...
All right, so I mean, we get it. It's a sob story from some anonymous person that we have no idea who she is. We have no way to verify anything that's being said. So it's just more questions than answers. All right. Play.
Very common in cases like this that the alleged victims do not always see themselves as victims.
Well, that's very interesting. It's actually extremely interesting because if I was a matrix-controlled organization and my goal was to slander somebody and try and destroy their name.
You mean like the BBC's trying to do to you right now? Or maybe not. Who knows?
You're telling me that they've chosen a crime which, one, is heinous, of course, because it damages the person's credibility, and two, you're saying that even if everyone else involved, if you have 5 people and everyone's sitting there saying, no, nobody's hurt anybody, we like Andrew, we've all worked together, or we're friends, etc.
That's not what
and that's been overwhelmingly the female response to him has been that, like, okay, yeah, he's a womanizer and he does this and that, but he's always treated us well and so on and so forth. Now, again, I'm sitting here with all the same information you guys have. I'm not saying good, bad, or otherwise. We're just trying to look at this and understand what is going on.
Let me read you some of the testimony from the current investigation.
Can I finish this?
One of the witnesses said...
Can I finish this?
You're not answering the question I've asked you. You're not answering the question I've asked you.
I am answering the question. You're saying...
Let me read you the testimony of one of the witnesses.
You're saying the people...
So I don't know if you guys saw the thing at the very beginning, but it said that the BBC had been begging the Tates for an interview for months. And then through some back and forths, they went. They agreed upon a list of approved questions, and then she just came in super hot like this. I think her name is Lucy, but I don't remember. But so straight up gotcha journalism, and I mean that's not necessarily a bad thing. We laud James O'Keefe and what he does with OMG and previously Project Veritas, but not anymore. But we laud that because it's amazing, it's awesome. But it has to be well placed. It has to be, in the right context. David says, notice how at the beginning, neither Tate nor the interviewer mentioned the tax fraud charges. Those are probably still very much on the table. Yeah, that's, I think, what, if anything, I don't see him getting out of that. I don't see him getting out of that at all. But that's a very different thing than S trafficking.
People who are involved in this, even if they say they're not victims, that they're still going to try and attack me and pretend they're victims.
Treated as victims by the case that's ongoing. And not all of them are saying that. One of the witnesses says,
we can't go into the case. The case is open and active.
So that sounds like he's got like his legal team right there off camera and be like, whoa, 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 whoa.
Shut up! Well, let's just be clear that not all of the witnesses in the case are behaving in the way you describe. And even those that are, it doesn't bar them from being treated as victims by the prosecution, by the case.
So Jess says, I don't like Tate, but he seems to be pretty transparent. He is what he says he is. Seems like it. And I think a lot that may even be his downfall, that he has been so transparent and that he has talked about a lot of this stuff. You know, when I first heard of the arrest, then I was curious about the statements that he made, and I wasn't aware of this lover boy method thing, and that was actually S trafficking. I think that's a stupid law. Like, if you're an adult and we want, you should be able to do whatever you want. But the law is the law, right? Opus says, was that Tucker leaked comments where he was saying, "Nah, I'm gonna wear a suit like I always do," in regards to Tate? I'm not sure. I haven't heard of this. He wasn't listening to his own brother telling him to shut up last time. Yep. And that's why I'm saying, like, I'm questioning, where is his mind to do this interview? They've been hounding him. So something about right now has changed. And again, they mentioned that there was a list of approved questions that they didn't stick to. But again, who knows? Who knows? Show me the list of questions.
We have an open criminal investigation. I am absolutely not really sure I'll be found innocent. I know the case better than you. I know it intimately and you don't. I have seen all the criminal files and the evidence against me, and you haven't. I know the truth of what happened, and you don't. And I'm telling you, absolutely not really, I've never hurt anybody, that the case that's been put against me is completely and utterly fabricated. And I'm never going to be found guilty of anything. And it's very difficult for me to answer your in-depth questions because we're sitting here inside of the territory of Romania. I'm beholden to the Romanian legal system. And I'm not going to incriminate myself because you're trying to prod me. You are wrong, and we're going to have to accept that for now and talk about something else. Let
me read you then what you have said about what you have done.
Sure.
Yeah, so Opus is saying he might be getting vibes that he isn't getting a fair shake in court. Only reason I think he would want to do an interview now. Very likely that he's definitely, whether it's the fraud stuff or the other stuff, that it's probably going to go down and not look good. And so whatever narrative he can get out there, whatever he can get out in front of, that would make a lot of sense. So you might be right. You might be right, sir.
You have said, my job was to meet a girl, go on a few dates, sleep with her, get her to fall in love with me to the point where she'd do anything I say, and then get her on webcam so we could become rich together.
So those are his words.
I don't think that's what I personally said. I think that's exactly.
Okay, I guess they're not his words. Can't trust the media.
Exactly
no, that's no, I've never said that. That's something that you found on the internet. Doesn't mean I've said it. And again, once again, if any female on the planet has a problem with me, I strongly recommend her to go to the police and try and pursue me for criminal charges.
Well, I mean, that's a pretty strong statement. Anybody who has anything against me, come and bring it. I'm at this point, like, what else can you do? Right?
It's actually very interesting that me, one of the most famous people in the world, who's been vilified by the legacy media and places all over the internet, while everyone has attacked me from every single angle, while federal agencies from multiple countries have called over 2,000 women who know me, we stand here with 0 new accusations since my arrest. 0.
So if you didn't hear that, he said 2,000 women they interviewed trying to get something. Remember, he was in jail for like 6 months, or was it 3 months? Whatever, however many months He was in jail before they had anything. They were, I think it was like 180 days at first, and then they extended it and extended it and extended it. And then he's still not free, even though they did all of that, all that investigation, still came up with, no charges. I don't know. I don't want to say they came up with nothing, but they came up with no charges, then released him to house arrest at his place. And we still haven't heard anything.
If you took any famous person, any man of substantial wealth, and you called 2,000 women who knew him, he'd find an ex-girlfriend is upset, somebody who wants money who's upset. They called 2,000 people who knew me and could not find a single woman to make a new complaint.
That's a good point. Hey, we got indie film in the building. Welcome to the party, brother. Good to see you. Good to see you. Opus, good point here. That being a skis ball, not against the law. Not against the law. David says, I don't even think he's one of the most famous people in the world, but I understand why he posits himself as that way. He's a polarizing internet figure, probably less famous than Logan Paul, to be honest. I'd say so. But the thing is that people who, are maybe in terms of fans and followers and subscribers and stuff, but people who are not in the internet world know who Andrew Tate is. There might be a decent amount of people who are not online who know who the Logan Paul is, but I would say of the people who don't have any real online presence, more of them would know who Andrew Tate is than Logan Paul. I do think his name, because he blasted off so quickly that that was the only thing that people were talking about for months at a time. Well, so it says honestly, he probably did some trafficking stuff, but Little Toes doesn't care. And definitely screw BBC. But again, if it comes down to this lover boy method thing, I honestly, maybe I don't understand it. So don't hold me to it, but maybe I don't understand it properly. But the way that I understand it, that you use the idea of relationships and stuff like that, and put a woman in a position to then work for you. Okay, if that's illegal, then it's against the law. Lock them up. But I seriously believe that should not be illegal. David Banner says, I don't know. Prime is huge, and Logan is in the WWE and ish too. Less people know about what is going on in the WWE than anything else that we've mentioned tonight.
The only complaints they have against me are the initial complaints,
exactly,
which we can prove are lies, and that's where it stands. So I'm not going to sit here and allow you to pretend that I'm some kind of evil predator, when actually I'd argue the fact that people who've been investigated to the level I've been investigated to, if you were to take the average man on the street and investigate his entire life for 14 months, call everyone who's ever known him, and vilify him in the media, and encourage people to come forward for money, and you try to contact every ex-girlfriend that's ever had.
Would come forward and accuse those people of rape and accuse those
I
people.
think that you would have a lot more. I think you would have a lot more flack than I've got. I'm actually such a nice person that I've never had.
The BBC has spoken to somebody since your arrest who says exactly those things. That with you, it's all manipulation. There's an ulterior.
Is this Sophie?
Everything.
Is this Sophie? Oh, Sophie, the fake name, no face, no the story that was invented.
To please him
and again, I'm not taking sides. I'm just saying. We got to be consistent. We got to call it as we see it. He knew already what she was talking about based on the details, because there's only one, I imagine, there's only one person with those details, and it's fake.
Wanting him to be happy, that I was just kind of, okay, do whatever you want.
And what is she?
That's a choice. That's a decision to make. You are an adult. Many, many people fought for a long, long time to get women equal rights. So when you make decisions, they're your decisions.
Has she accused me of a crime, this imaginary Sophie?
Yeah.
She's making the point that there is.
Has she accused?
And I want to make this clear, because I want to make this crystal clear. I'm not saying that there is no Sophie. I'm not saying that there can't be somebody behind that name and behind that story. There absolutely could be. But from my vantage point, I can't take that seriously. I can't do anything with that. Somebody said a thing that someone did a thing. Okay.
Accuse me of a crime.
Emotional or psychological manipulation.
I've asked you a question and I've allowed you into my house.
I'm asking you a question.
Correct, but you're not the boss here because I've allowed you into my house.
I'm asking you the question.
Correctly, and I'm telling you.
You get to decide the answers.
No.
Okay.
We're
All right.
equal. I've allowed you into my house. You don't come here with a position of authority. I'm doing you the favor as legacy media, giving you relevance by speaking to you. And I'm telling you now, this Sophie, which the BBC has invented, which there's no face of, nobody knows who she is.
The
And
BBC did not invent.
of course.
Okay. So I want to go back on that. And, you know, I mean, he's distanced himself from the red pill, but there's still, you know, stuff from red pill ideology that we very much take seriously and want to live by. So this can be taken two ways. He could either be, you know, kind of establishing a boundary that, like, okay, I understand that you're the reporter and I'm the subject, but you're not just going to come in here and bully me. Or the alternative is that he got a little triggered and he didn't maintain his masculine frame. So let's see. Let's go back a little bit. Does this not work like that?
That me, one of the most famous people in the world, who's been vilified by the legacy media and places all over the internet, while everyone has attacked me for knowing the story that was invented.
Wanting to please him and wanting him to be happy, that I was just kind of.
So yeah, we want to see, is this maintaining frame or is this getting triggered? Jeff Pearson said, an old narcissistic friend of mine talks just like Tate. He traveled the world, had girls all over, connected to Ukraine, etc., etc. Now he has 2 counts of felony child. Yikes. Yikes. Let's hope that's not going on here at all, for everyone's sake. Tate's weakness is that he is an uber narcissist. I think, again, I think people just throw around mental health terms like that. I'm more comfortable with saying he has a lot of narcissistic tendencies, but I'm right there with you. What? And yeah, good call. Good call.
Yeah, okay.
So maintaining frame or getting triggered.
Whatever you want.
And what is she accused? Has she accused me of a crime? This imaginary Sophie?
She's making the point that there is.
Has she accused me of a crime?
Emotional or psychological manipulation.
I've asked you a question and I've allowed you into my house.
I'm asking you a question.
Correct, but you're
right here. So we have him start. He was leaning back, and now he's moving. He's moving forward. Do you think this is establishing a boundary or getting triggered?
the boss here because I've allowed you into my house.
I'm asking you the question.
Correctly, and I'm telling you.
You get to decide the answers.
No, we're equal here. I've allowed you into my house. You don't come here with a position of authority. I'm doing you the favor as legacy media, giving you relevance by speaking to you. And I'm telling you now, this Sophie, which the BBC has invented, which there's no face of, nobody knows who she is.
The BBC did not invent.
Of course not. And because you never invent anything. And she's not filed criminal charges against me. What are we talking about here? What is she?
That's exactly what I was saying. What are we talking about? What do we actually have here? If we have a person, if we have a story, then we can track all the facts. If we just have an idea, then, you know, we're in dream world. David Banner says, I think it's totally fair to call him a narcissist. I'm the top G. I'm one of the most famous people in the world. We can call a spade a spade. Okay, but number one, if he is the top G comes from the kickboxing thing that then was translated into his wealth. How many rich kickboxers do you know? Then the most famous, he says the most Googled man on the planet, and I'm pretty sure he got that from a legitimate, Google chart. However they carry that stuff. So no, a narcissist is somebody who does not feel emotions for other people, and that's just not what that means. There's narcissistic tendencies, and I don't see why we need to go any further than that. Narcissistic tendencies are very bad. But we don't need to go around calling people psychos and sociopaths and narcissists and all this stuff. We need to be deliberate with our language. This is what I preach to you guys every single day. Words are important. Words have meanings. And when you obfuscate the meanings of words, you screw up the entire society. So no, it is not fair to call him a narcissist unless you are a psychologist who has diagnosed him as such.
Talking about emotional manipulation in the sex industry for your financial gain.
Absolute garbage. She has not filed criminal. This person, if they exist, has not filed criminal charges against me. I welcome anybody who believes I've harmed them, male or female, any point in the past, to file criminal charges against me, and I will fight them. I know who I am, and I know what I've done, and I know the truth, and I know that I'll be found innocent of this attack. The reason I'm being attacked is because of my massive influence, not because I've ever hurt anybody. And for you to sit here and say that everybody around you is saying you're innocent, but that doesn't matter because the state will say they're victims.
Exactly.
And they're just going to grab everybody you know and call everybody victims, even if they say they're not, and try and put you in jail. You are describing a matrix attack. You're not describing human trafficking.
I'm describing.
Yeah, so I think it might be later on, or right here. I don't know. I was scooping around to just make sure this was good for us. But she said something about how, you know, even though the women aren't calling themselves victims, in the case, the state is viewing them as victims because they don't necessarily need to call themselves victims in order for the state to have a victim or something like that. So basically, these people are like, nope, we're good. Nobody did anything wrong to me. And the state's like, yes, he did. And he's going to jail. And they're like, no, really. It wasn't anything illegal. And that's Romania for you. But I mean, hey, he went there specifically because of how the laws are, not so tight like they are here. And I mean, not even that tight here. Yeah, I know.
Describing women who are going to court to accuse you of rape and human trafficking.
We will see what women go. We will see what women go to court at the end of this trial.
Unfortunately,
we'll see which women go to court.
Unfortunately, this is what StreamYard has with those. But I could see it. I got you.
Please.
We'll see which women go to court.
I'm describing women who are going to court to.
So nobody answered me. Was that establishing a boundary, or was that losing frame? What are we doing here, guys? Am I talking to myself?
Accuse you of rape and human
Sophie hasn't gone to court. Sophie doesn't exist.
I'm describing women who have spoken to the BBC at length.
Sophie doesn't exist.
And other media organisations about what they say is emotional manipulation, coercion. And I'm quoting back to you your own words where you describe.
They're not my words.
Coercion.
They're words you found. They're words you found on the internet. And Sophie doesn't exist.
So
let's move on to the next subject.
In your voice.
Move on to the next subject.
No, I think I'll stick on this one for a minute.
Okay, so that's another one there that could be either way. But Zibby says he's setting boundaries. I think he got triggered, but he caught himself. That leaning forward was a little bit telling. But I think he caught himself, and then he said, "Look, we're equals here, all that stuff." I agree with you. David said, subjectively, yes, you are alone with Morty talking to yourself.
So there's other places in that same website.
Apparently. I stopped the whole video and rewinded it to ask you guys a question.
Whatever. You say, you get girls to fall in love with you, and they do it because they love you, because they want to do what you say. Convincing women to take part in some kind of business arrangement doesn't work long term because they're emotional. You've got to get them to fall in love with you. That's coercion. That's emotional manipulation. That's abuse.
What?
But it is illegal. Is it illegal? And then should it be illegal?
You found are clips from the internet, some text from the internet, and you're going to sit here and tell me that that's the reason I should be.
Your website, your words.
It's not my website.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not. Check my website. Next.
So pull up the page. What are we doing? Pull up the page. Look, it's right here. You both have phones. Pull it up.
It's the website you've taken down, and I wonder why those comments have been taken down.
No website's been taken down. My website is the same. It's been the same for a very long time.
The comments on this website, on the original website, have been taken down, and I wonder why.
That's different. So that's different than a website being taken down. But that's also shady to be taking down comments. It depends on what the comments are. There's a lot of gray area here, guys. I don't like how anybody is handling this right now.
You are accusing me. I'm guessing what you're trying to say is you're accusing me, and you're trying to say that I'm guilty of the things I'm accused of, and I'm emotionally manipulating.
I'm saying that you have said you emotionally manipulated people here for your own financial gain.
No, absolutely.
I think that's true. I think that is true. He has specifically talked about how he emotionally manipulates people. But again, emotional manipulation isn't or shouldn't be illegal.
Absolutely not.
And I'm asking you about that.
Absolutely not is the answer. I look forward to the end of this trial. I look forward to clearing my name. I look forward to the BBC and the legacy media having to say not guilty and having to tell the truth.
Oh, hell
As I've said before,
no.
The only other person who's been found, despite absolute rigorous, destructive levels of investigation and prodding into my life, is this imaginary Sophie by the BBC who doesn't exist. And if you were to find any single other man on earth and try and analyze his life forensically to the level they've done mine, You find genuine damage to people. I don't hurt people.
That is a good, and again, I know that he said it before, and I stopped there, but that is a good point. That after all of this, all they have found is clips of him saying the stuff. It's not like they yielded anything from all this investigation. All the stuff that they're holding on is based on stuff that he put out on the internet, as far as I understand it. Emotional manipulation is what every executive does. Yeah, exactly. That's how the world works. Like, what are we talking about?
It's not just
thousands of women have come out in my defense. Thousands of women have come out in my defense, and you've not mentioned that. Thousands of women come out in my defense.
Because the problem is when women accuse you of serious crimes.
Okay.
And emotional manipulation.
Well, let's agree that thousands of women. Let's agree that
it's
thousands.
It's not the problem that some people say you haven't done it. It's a problem that some people say you have.
If it's, that is true. That is true in the grand sense of that. Okay, it's not. It doesn't matter whether every woman you've ever met never accused you. If this woman does, then we need to look into that. But again, this is months and months and months and months and months after the most Googled man in the world has been in custody, and they haven't found anything to bring charges. Yeah, all the time, bro.
Thousands of women come out in my defense, and as we stand right now, we have an open criminal investigation. The people who were involved in the criminal investigation are saying that we're not victims of anything. Andrew's fine, he's never hurt us. You're saying, no, I have the opposite to that. I have to counter that. I have someone called Sophie with no face, a fake name, who we've invented, and she's not accusing you of anything criminal. So I don't see the whole point you're trying to make here.
Open says, I think if you looked at men as being as fragile as we view women, you would find that women are far more emotionally manipulative overall. But society tells us men can't be manipulated like that. Great point. Great point. That is like the default female operation is to use your, I mean, even if you don't, like, regardless of what side you fall with the whole city bike Karen thing, the idea was that this woman is using her crocodile tears to do this, or the other, like, this is what people do. This is what people do. I don't know how it got this far based on that context alone. Very weird.
They say you manipulate women. Why wouldn't people think you do?
I'm not here. Do you think I'm manipulating you?
I'm asking you about the testimony you've given on your website and the testimony
you've printed something off that you found on Reddit, and you're going to sit here and say that makes me a bad person. I'm saying that you should know better as a journalist and do some proper journalism. Let's investigate the fact that thousands.
I think you should answer my questions
properly. I already have, and we should move on. She's just trying to start arguing.
It's not only about the criminal allegations. It's a much bigger issue. You've got children's organisations in the UK. You've got rape organisations in the UK. You've got the police naming you by name as someone who has a harmful influence on children and on women in the UK and elsewhere because of the things you say.
Okay, but that's fine. Anybody can say whatever they want about anybody else, but it doesn't become relevant until you have something to back it up. And if you put a man in jail for months and aren't able to come up with anything besides his own words, then just charge him on his own words. Fraud was definitely a thing. He absolutely admitted to defrauding the women who work for him. So just get him on that, and let's move on. Jeff says there are pastors and political leaders convicted of horrible crimes, and people defend them long after their death. The number of people defending Tate isn't relevant to guilt or innocence.
Bingo!
Well said. Well said. It's not related, brother. That's all. And I did answer. What do you mean? I said yes.
Because of the way you present gender relations, the way you say men should treat women.
That's very upsetting. And the reason that's very upsetting is because I know that's not true. I'm genuinely a good person. I believe my impact on the world is positive. In fact, if you were to read the comment section of nearly any video I post, especially by the legacy media, 95% of the population agree with me. Most people know that the things I say are positive. Legacy media as a whole has lost all its credibility in the last 3 to 4 years.
I mean, that's true, but I don't know how much weight you want to put on comments on videos. Like that's not a good representation of what people actually really think.
Nobody believes it. And it's a shame, it's a massive shame that the BBC come here and try and push and purport this idea that I'm a dangerous person. I'm anti-drugs. I've never pushed drugs or any I'm anti-drugs. I'm anti-violence. The UK is facing a knife crime epidemic, and they're going to sit here and say that I'm the most dangerous man in the UK.
You have said you're the most dangerous man in the world.
I've said I'm the most dangerous man in the world.
You've also said that a woman.
So I remember this part. This is interesting how he handled this, because he has said that. But again, what is the context?
Woman's intimate parts belong to her male partner. I'm glad you find that funny.
I find it funny.
Yup. He was like, oh yeah, I was all about this corruption, but now it's working against me. I might want to go back to the US, or at least the UK.
Funny that you're sitting here saying that I've said I'm the most dangerous man in the world, and you believe that's. When did I say that?
I'm asking if you believe it.
No, you said you're the most dangerous man in the world. Is that some kind of proof that I'm dangerous? Am I Dr. Evil now? I'm telling you that it's very upsetting that you're going to sit here and that certain organizations in the world are going to try and pretend that I'm the biggest force of evil on earth when I'm genuinely a force for good. I'm genuinely a force for good. And the reason they're doing this is because of the massive influence I have over the youth. And they don't like that I'm telling the youth to think outside of the matrix and ignore things like the BBC, which come here with loaded questions and false narratives and try and paint innocent people as guilty.
You said women's intimate parts belong to their male partner.
I said that if a woman marries a man, she takes his last name and traditionally the man gives her away. I've been pushing traditional religious beliefs because I'm a religious man.
I mean, he's a religious man now. Let's not BS anybody and act like he's been religious this whole time. That was something that happened. I think the seeds were planted before he got arrested, actually, but that was definitely a rebranding. David Manner says positive or negative is relative, but it's his influence and what he projects isn't attainable for most of the people who gave him money for Hustlers University, in my opinion. Agreed. I mean, again, this goes back to the same thing, is that like, if dumb people who have no lives get help from Andrew Tate and want to spend their money there, that's, as long as it's not an actual scam, then what are we doing? As if he said, well, if the knife crime is because the government keeps stealing weapons from all the people. Yeah. If it was, if they didn't take away the guns, then, there'd be a lot less crime. That sounded sarcastic, but it was a joke that didn't come out the right way. But I'm just gonna leave that one. Zippy says, religion is a thing you find after you sow your seeds. All right. I just I don't really care either way, but it's not a strong thing, because his whole thing was about sleeping around and cam girls. That's not religious. It's just not. Like, mismute that. Jeff says, can you imagine how difficult it would be to be Tate's PR people? In my opinion, this interview doesn't help him. Exactly. That's why I'm surprised that this is even happening. That's why this is so interesting, because it's like when Prince Andrew, when he was going through all the Epstein stuff, and he went on I don't know, one of these like 60 Minutes or something like that, and he just had a terrible interview. Now, in that situation, I think it was, and this is pure speculation, but I think it had to do with the fact that Epstein had some ish on him, and it was better that he goes on TV and looks like a crazy person than whatever was real. David says it does help him, but not in the way he intends it. This probably won't make people change their minds on Tate, but it will for sure stoke the fire for his followers. Well said. Yeah, definitely. This is definitely going to rally the base. And at this point, that might be all he has. Because again, we have to think of, why is he doing this? If he's going down, then this might be his attempt to save whatever he can. Because, like we're saying, it's not looking great. So he says, to me, it feels like the BBC is absolute trash, and Tate looks far better than the BBC. I mean, no. Why do you say that? What's making you say that? Because so far we haven't really gotten into much more than just question and answer. I don't really think that she came in with the best energy to try to have this conversation. It's Andrew Tate, so maybe sugar tries or honey attracts more flies than vinegar. But and I'm not sucking off the BBC. Pause.
Haram.
But yeah, I don't see anything in this so far that is going off. Anyone in the middle may give pause to you guys.
And traditional beliefs in regards to marriage, which everybody accepted 10 to 15 years ago.
So
That's not a crazy conspiracy theory. If you're going to sit here and say that me believing a woman should take a man's last name in marriage makes me the most dangerous man in the world, then you're just going to lose even more credibility than the BBC's already lost in the last 4 to 5 years. If that's your point, if that's your narrative you want to push,
say that
good
men
luck.
should be able to sleep with a lot of women outside marriage. That doesn't sound very religious. Or
That's not what I said they should be able to. I said a lot of high-value men, a lot of rich men do it. And then we discussed at length on podcasts why rich men do it. And we also discussed why women decide to be unfaithful.
I mean, I didn't follow his specific, his long form podcast enough to know that whether or not that's true, but I'm pretty sure that he's never been, solely monogamous. And I'm just like, well, other people do it, not me. I don't. What are you doing, Mort? Look, okay, look. Let me do this. Look, I know it's. What are you doing? He's literally trying to crawl inside my foot warmer. Morty, you cannot do that. No, that doesn't work. What are you doing? Go lay down. This is not for you. Here. This dog is crazy. I'm going to put my foot warmer on this and see if he goes and lays there. Go lay down. Come on. Let's go. This dog is crazy.
It's not a gendered argument. We discussed unfaithfulness as a whole. What are the reasons and motivations for men? What are the reasons and motivations for women? Because you have no time to actually, watch my content. Because you have no time to actually watch my content at length and understand what I'm saying, you just come here with a small snippet which we provided to you on a piece of paper.
3 times doesn't make it true.
No, completely. You don't have a clue what I say or what.
Yeah, Dope is saying, I tend to agree that this was a bad choice to do the interview. It would make more sense if he was trying to get out ahead of a biased court system than would have gone on a more friendly news. Good point. I mean, I don't know. Because Fox is in a situation where they're trying to recover from potentially being there you go, good boy, there you go, potentially being stuck in the middle of whether they want to go and rally for Trump or go against him. So that I don't know if they would want to put Andrew Tate in that mix. But, in general, that does make sense that there's a lot of other people that he could have spoken to that would have given him a little bit more of a friendly interview. Tate has had months to think about this and has already said he won't discuss certain topics because of the open cases. I sort of agree with Zippy. Tate is dunking on a Fisher-Price hoop right now. All right, fair enough. Zippy saying, it's just if you have any doubt about legacy media, the BBC just comes out worse than Tate. Tate is just an ass, but not to the level of the jerkiness as the BBC. Well, we have to remember that is the job of a journalist, is to ask the hard-hitting questions. I don't think that this is the best way to go about it, but in general, that is her job, to ask the stuff that he doesn't want to answer. That's her job. Given that, yes, it is definitely going to go sideways. I guess I got to get him one. Oh, shots fired at Fox. Jeff said Tucker interviewing Tate would be good pay-per-view. That would be awesome. That would be dope. So, what does this not let me go back by just using the keys?
We discussed unfaithfulness as a whole. What are the reasons and motivations for men? What are the reasons and motivations for women? Because you have no time to actually, watch my content. Because you have no time to actually watch my content at length.
Again, another situation where I think that is, kind of trying to reinforce those boundaries that, you need to let me speak. But he sounds kind of mad too. I don't know. What do you guys think? Reinforcing the boundary or getting triggered?
And understand what I'm saying. You just come here with a small snippet which we provided to you on a piece of paper.
3 times doesn't make it true.
No, completely. You don't have a clue what I say or what I talk about. You never watch my content. You have small pieces of paper, small clips on a piece of paper, and you're trying to pretend I've said evil things. And then you're going to say I'm the most dangerous man in the world, which is truly laughable.
You said that, not me.
Okay. Do you believe I'm the most dangerous man in the world, Lucy?
I'm not answering your question.
Well, then we need to change the dynamic of this interview because I'll make this clear. I allowed you into my home. I'm doing you a favor, giving you the first interview I'm giving to the public. You don't come here with a position of authority. You're not the police. I don't respect the BBC. I don't know you. You do not come here with a position of authority over me.
Bingo!
We are equals. We are equal citizens of the world, and we sit here as equals. And I see you as my equal. And if you ask me questions, I can ask you questions back. For you to come here and sit down and pretend you're the Gestapo and that you don't have to answer my question is disingenuous because I don't owe you anything.
So again, I understand where he's coming from, but that's not what journalism is. This isn't about, Lucy, what the fuck is her name? Nobody cares about Lucy. This isn't a podcast. This is an interview. She is the person that is coming with the questions, and he is the person who's supposed to be giving the answers. Now, like I said, I think if you want to get the best story, probably good to just have more of a conversation instead of just this gotcha thing. Now, like when he went on, the Piers Morgan show, they, that was a decently hard-hitting interview. Piers went at him, but they established some rapport so that there was a little bit of wiggle room, especially because he's right in the middle of this case. Then I think a little bit more tact on her part would have made all of this go better for both of them. Zippy says she's dealing in too much false information. That's the problem. Well, I think you're right, because I think the idea is that if she had come in with like, okay, this is all the stuff people are saying, can you correct it, and then push back on the correction instead of saying you did this, you did this, you did that. I think that would have been a way better tactic to get the best story. Good question, Jeff. I do not know anybody who is not from the U.S. Please let us know, how do people outside the U.S. view Tate? Because I am firmly inside the U.S. of A. David said, I think the BBC sent her for a reason. It again paints a picture, with the edits they would surely do, that Tate is punching down and talking loud and fast at a woman. I think, yeah, right. And that's precisely why we have this video right now. Precisely why they recorded it. Hey, we got Iridium Kush in the building. Shout out to you. What is good? What is good? Welcome to the party. Good to see you, brother. Fruit flies and shit. Just said David made a good point on Tate punching down. It looks bad. And I mean, the fact that this hasn't been released is, again, what does that mean? That if it's already, hey, let's send this person to make Tate look bad, and then he does exactly what you want him to do, what does that say? Maybe this is not as bad for Tate as the BBC wants it to be.
Questions and you answer.
But I don't owe, no,
however you want.
This is a conversation, and I don't owe you any degree of authority over me. So let's make that clear. And that doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman or from the BBC or the CNN.
Yeah, again, it's true in the sense of authority, but the roles they play, I mean, how often do we talk about the roles that we play? Her role is not to have a conversation with you. Her role is not to be buddy-buddy with you. You guys aren't sharing a drink. She's at work. She works for a legacy mainstream media company, and she's asking the questions. So, again, it would be better for both of them if she was more conversational. But that's just she's still doing exactly what she is supposed to be doing. She doesn't owe him that. She's too accusatory rather than asking a question and dealing with correcting the information she has. It's kind of just the Inquisition all over again. Yep. Dave Mash is also speaking on frame. Tate looks imposing and she looks more reserved. Yeah. I think the fact that he is, I mean, you can see he put pillows behind him. So that's one little thing of it could either be a back issue or that he wanted to be more like this than like that. The other thing is that the cameras got the side profile. So I don't know if you'd want to be all hunched over as opposed to that. But it could be, there's a lot going on. So that's all the kind of stuff that I want to be looking at. So good catch, David. Opus said, look, do I think there's a good chance that Tate has done something illegal? Probably. but the burden is on justice to prove it. Yes, it's on the state or the whatever jurisdiction. It's their responsibility. Innocent until proven guilty. Now, obviously, in Romania, it don't work that way because it was locked up for months. But that's that's how it should be. And Iridium said, she's MSM. Enough said. Yep, that's how it goes. Play.
I'm here to answer your questions and be honest with you and do you a favor.
Great.
And I'm doing you a favor. But you come here with loaded questions. You're trying to paint a narrative of me which is negative.
I'm asking you
And
about
that's
things
fine.
you've said that people are concerned about.
And
You're not, though. You're accusing him, just like we've been talking about. And yeah, David, I obviously they would definitely want to cut out parts like this where he's being humanized, where he sounds like, what's the word? I don't know, but like sympathetic, where it's like, okay, whether or not he did these things, you are being very accusatory. So they probably would have cut that out and been like, just used. This probably would have been a 5-minute piece. This is what, about 40 minutes. They probably would have cut this down to 5 minutes. The 5 minutes that they need to make him look as horrible as they can, which again is why this camera is here. It's in conjunction with Tate speaking loud and fast. Yep.
that's fine. But you're not going to sit here and say you don't answer my questions because you're not above me. Absolutely.
Well, it would help if you answered the question.
I've answered every question so far.
Let me ask another question.
Sure.
You have said that a woman's intimate parts belong to her male partner, and if she goes on OnlyFans, he is entitled to a cut of her income.
You are extremely, it's very confusing to me why you're going to sit here, take long format podcasts I've done, which are 3 or 4 hours long, in context where I've sat with OnlyFans girls, 10 or 15 OnlyFans girls, where we've been joking back and forth, ignore every comment and satirical comment and sarcastic comment that the females have made, and then come along and say, you said this, and that, you're the most evil man in the world.
You?
I don't know if you understand what sarcasm is. I don't know if you understand what sarcasm is. I don't know if you understand what context is. I don't know if you understand what satirical content
So you're saying it was sarcastic?
I'm saying it was a very interesting talk show.
Mm-hmm.
And for you to sit here and say that is my true core beliefs and that makes me a bad person is...
I see. He's right, but he's not doing that's not how you handle that. Because for you to expect for anybody to be familiar with your entire library of content, and the longer it is, the less you should expect. Like, so if some random person comes on and asks me, for me to be like, I covered this in a video 8 months ago, and it was a 4-hour stream. Just watch it. Like, what? Nobody. I'm nobody. And that goes all the way up to Andrew Tate. To this lady, Andrew Tate is nobody. So he is correct. He is correct in the sense that she is taking long form discussions and cherry picking little pieces. However, that is the way of the world. That is the way of the world. Most people are not like us. Most people are not interested in 1 hour, 2 hour, 3 hour thing. They want 20-second clips. And you know that. I'm pretty sure that's part of the Hustler University thing, is to make clips out of Andrew Tate content, both to get yourself, paid and to get his message out there. So you can't really blame people when you speak in a way that's very soundbitey. You can't be, where is it? Come on. Yep. But exactly. So, and instead of getting angry, then you should be like, well, I did say that. I absolutely said that, and let her sit in it and bake in it. And like, you said that? That's terrible. Well, yes, but let me explain to you the context. I said that to an OnlyFans model in the context of this, and that's how this conversation should be going. Even if she's coming in super hot. If you guys remember the Kathy Newman and Jordan Peterson debate, the one was like, so what you're saying is, every time he finished a sentence, she would strawman his position. So what you're saying is women don't need to be smart. I'm like, what? That's not what I said. And Jordan Peterson was calm. He's like, no, that's not at all what I said. Okay. And, he corrected her, and he came out looking like a superstar, and she came out looking terrible. And Tate is not doing that here. Radium Kush said, that is why YouTube pushes the shorts. because most people have the attention span of a goldfish.
Bingo!
And yeah, I mean, that's why TikTok is so popular. That's why the every platform is trying to get into this short form content thing. Now, I've heard that it's not lasting because it doesn't gain, like, we're like a little community here, which is what you will get when you're speaking with someone for hours on end. When you're just scrolling through, you don't build that. And so I think it was a flash in the pan kind of thing. I don't think that short form content is going to really last as long, but right now it certainly is. Yep. Thank you.
It's disingenuous.
Is it?
Of course not.
Was it sarcasm?
Absolutely. You should watch the show.
You were being sarcastic
You should-
when you said, let me
you
just
should-
clarify.
you should
okay?
watch the show.
Let me clarify for the audience. You were being sarcastic.
Absolutely.
When
Yeah, absolutely is.
you said a woman's intimate parts belong to her male partner.
No.
You didn't believe that.
No, it's not that. It's that you haven't watched
He said, no, of course I believe that her belongs to him.
the show at length, and you should have, because the woman was saying, my man's car belongs to me because he's my man. And she was on OnlyFans.
What?
And then 20 minutes later, when she said she was on OnlyFans, I said, well, you're selling your body, that belongs to him because he's your man. And she laughed, she laughed, and she said, yeah, that's probably true. If
You don't think that Andrew Tate is a good orator? Do you know what the word orator means? Explain to me how an Andrew Tate is not a good orator. Or are you just saying he's not like Peterson? He does speak, but he does speak concise and clearly and has developed views. But that's what an orator is. Okay, well, that's what you're saying. I see. With the comma, this is why commas are important. So that the question is Tate a good orator? A good orator like Peterson is a good orator. Without the comma, the question is Tate like Peterson? This is why. Yeah, see, this is why. See, it pays off. The comma came in clutch. All right, and we're on the same page then.
you watch the show, it will make sense. For you to come here with doing no research at all, and then say, I don't understand what I'm talking about, but I've got this piece of paper with a few things printed off, that's why you're saying the silly things you're saying. You should watch the show, do some research.
Do you believe it?
You already answered
I've
that.
already answered the question.
Not really.
Of course I have.
Objection asked and answered.
Can we move on? I've answered the question.
Do you believe that a woman's intimate parts belong to her male partner?
Of course not. I've just answered the question.
We've done that 3 times.
And does this woman believe that her man's car belongs to her? It's not a gendered argument. I really think that
Good point.
it's genuinely sad that when the BBC has a chance to finally interview me at the end of all this Matrix attack, that they don't come here with any kind of genuine openness to try and understand my influence over the world or the things I push or what I'm trying to teach the world or why I'm a good influence on the world, because I am a massively good influence. Instead, they come here with pieces of paper with printed out excerpts from 5-year-old podcasts, taken out of context, to attempt the same Matrix attack on me, which has been attempted endlessly. Every single person
Oh, come on.
legacy media has already tried this, and it doesn't work. I really encourage you to read the comment section on YouTube when this goes on YouTube, and you will see that nobody believes a word you're saying.
The
This is
reason we're
garbage.
asking you about these comments is because we've got the chief executive of Rape Crisis naming you individually as spreading a dangerous ideology of misogynistic rape culture.
Absolutely.
Jesus. Well, let's. All right. So, yeah. Zuby says I was not sure how blundering with words he was, but he seems decent enough. It's just setup is ass. I guess you mean this setup. And like again, he's mic'd up for the BBC, not for this video that we're watching. This video was put out by him and his team, because BBC ain't getting any mileage off of this one. Let me see. I want to back that up, but I keep pressing the
I
back.
encourage you to read
Okay,
the
it
comment
does work.
section
Okay.
on YouTube.
takes
This
a
goes on YouTube, and you will see that nobody believes a word you're saying.
The
This is
reason we're
garbage.
asking you.
That's not
about-
true. A lot of people believe what she's saying because she is the one saying it. So Jess asks a great question here. So by Matrix attack, His whole thing is that we live in, I mean, obviously you've seen the movie The Matrix. He's saying that we live in the Matrix, and you need to take the red pill and understand the lies, and the media is doing this, all that stuff. So basically the woke establishment is, So Tate's Matrix Legacy Media talk is his Alex Jones globalist leftist elite. Yeah, no, I mean, not far off, where, so I guess the way that I would interpret it is a, dare I say, hyperbolic description of how the world really works when we're talking about, who runs the world and all that kind of stuff.
These comments is because we've got the chief executive of Rape Crisis naming you individually as spreading a dangerous ideology of misogynistic rape culture.
Absolute.
It's the comments you make that are leading people to say things like
absolute
this.
garbage.
National organizations who are saying that, blaming you for increasing levels of misogyny. Schools that are saying they are having increased incidents of girls being attacked, of female teachers being harassed.
And that's somehow due to Andrew Tate talking about self-improvement?
What? If that was
by
true,
pupils,
if that,
because of you and your teaching.
Well, that's absolutely.
Yeah, you need to draw that connection. You can't just say, well, people said that you said stuff and now there's more things happening. That's not a thing. That's not an argument. That's not a position. That's nothing. That's just saying things.
That's absolute garbage. I have never, ever encouraged a student to attack a teacher, male or female, ever. I preach hard work, discipline. I'm an athlete. I preach anti-drug. I preach religion. I preach no alcohol. I preach no knife crime. Every single problem in modern society, I'm against. I'm teaching young men to be disciplined, to be diligent, to listen, to train, to work hard, to be exactly like me, with no criminal record, never even yet charged in this 14-month Matrix investigation.
Wow, 14 months. And love him or hate him. Love him or hate what he does. His attempts, at least his intentions when it comes to young men is absolutely to help. Is it helping? I think there's a necessary aspect of what he does that balances the woke, over feminized, gynocentric society, all that stuff. There needs to be something. There was the great Kevin Samuels. Shout out to Kevin Samuels. And unfortunately, he was a huge loss. And I'm not at all saying that Andrew Tate is the next Kevin Samuels, but men need that, young men specifically need that person, that figurehead, to be about the understanding that, hey, the way that the mainstream media, legacy, news, all that, whatever you want to call it, the way that they're trying to get you to perceive the world is not accurate. It's not accurate. And if you follow that, you will be unhappy and likely broke and very likely heartbroken. So that message is absolutely needed. Again, I would not choose Andrew Tate to be the one to take that on from the get-go if I had the choice. But where there is a vacuum, it will be filled. David says, love him or hate him, legal systems in place are horrible and drawn out with the intentions of doing harm to the accused, right or not? Very true, sir. Very, very true. And that's not, and that's even the American justice system. We're not talking about America, where we theoretically have the best opportunity to be innocent until proven guilty. This is Romania, where they're like, somebody said a thing, throw them in jail and see if there's anything to it.
What?
It's crazy. No, unfortunately, we don't. We didn't. I mean, individually, no. We definitely did have a choice of who we paid attention to and who it's the attention economy, who we clicked on, who we followed, all that stuff. We had a choice in that sense, but nobody got a choice like that. And I don't know that I would want any one person to have that choice. I think the organic nature of how these people rise to those positions, it's for a reason. There's a reason that people know who Andrew Tate is. There is a reason. David Banner says, like they arrest him for HT and RPay accusations. Why does it take 14 months? What are you doing? What are you doing? Hey, we got, how do I pull this up? There's no way to pull it up, but we got a new member of the channel, gifted by Jeff Peterson. David Banner, you are now a member of the channel, and of course, any donation comes with a treat for Morty. Yay, good job, good job. Thank you, Jeff. And glad to have you on board. I know you one of the real ones, David, but now you got the official symbol. Thanks to Jeff. Thank you. Let's you know what? Why don't you guys share that? You and Mark can share the sponsor spot.
And I'm saying that if men grew up like me, which are hardworking and diligent, and emotional control and stoic, we're going to have a better society, not a worse society. To sit here and say that schools in England, which is a failing nation, which has knife crime going through the roof, violence going through the roof, men's mental health going through the roof, and they're going to all blame me because I appeared on the internet 1 year ago, is disingenuous. It's disingenuous. And also,
financial success,
correct,
with a Bugatti and a cigar, but it comes with a side order of misogyny.
How does having a Bugatti and a cigar come with misogyny?
Because it's all mixed together in what you teach. You teach that a woman, if a woman comes home,
but you don't know what he teaches.
You should hit her with a machete. Shove her off.
Is that what I teach?
Yeah, like how can you condemn what he teaches when you don't know what it is that he teaches? You could, even if you're coming in hot like you are, and you're you want to be accusatory. Once you're now in this conversation and you're at this point in the conversation, you've already admitted that you don't know where he's coming from, or at least that he is going to have the pushback for what you're saying. So you got to be able to pivot. She's just got her notebook and she's saying, okay, this, and then that, and then that, and then that, and that. Same exact thing happened in the Travis Rudolph trial. I've been watching a lot of that with shout out to the lead attorney. He's been covering the Travis Rudolph trial. He was a receiver for the Giants, and he had a spat with his girl, and the girl called her brothers, came over to the house. There was a scuffle, and then dude took a handgun with a drum thingy and dumped 39 rounds into the car and killed one of the dudes. And so they're going through the trial, and the girlfriend is on the stand, and the interviewer, the prosecutor, or I guess it would be the defense attorney, is just like dropping the ball. It's like, how are you not asking the right questions? This is your job. You have one job: ask the right questions to impeach the witness. And she would say stuff like, I don't want to, get into the whole details of everything, but she'd say stuff like, oh yeah, I was totally angry. And she'd be trying to get her to say like, no, I was upset. I was hurt. And then she says that she's angry. What the defense attorney was trying to get at for half an hour. And then she just moves on. Like, you have to be able to understand how to talk to people to get them to say what you want them to say. And at the end of the day, you can't force anybody to say anything. So if you can't get there, that's either because you don't have what you need to get what you want, or you don't have the skills to get what you need. One way or the other. Do they even know what one is? Who knows? David said this BBC interviewer is probably the one who wrote the Reddit post in that Vice article. I would not be surprised the way this is going. I would not be surprised.
That's what you say.
No, if you actually watch the clip, it will be about the woman attacking me with a machete. As usual, you've not watched the video, taken out of context, flipped it, and attempted to attack me.
Yeah, that was one of the first things that really went viral. That people were like, "Whoa, what is this Andrew Tate guy?" Where he was talking about, if some woman attacked him with a machete, and then he said something like, "Oh, he'd slash her up or something like that." And again, it was hyperbole. It was just kind of flexing, that kind of stuff. It's not anything that should be taken serious by any reasonable person. But you put it in black and white text, and you have no intonation, you have no context, and it changes the entire meaning.
With a small excerpt. Let me tell you something, Lucy. I'm sure you're a very nice person. I'm sure you're a fantastic person. But if I were to take everything you've ever said online and just take...
Is she though?
small excerpts out of context, I could make you look like a misogynist. I guarantee it. In fact, I might actually do that. And then you're going to sit here and say, oh shit, I'm a misogynist because my clips have been taken out of context. If you refuse to watch anything at length and understand it, then that's what's going to happen.
The National Police Chiefs League for Violence Against Women, the NSPCC, Rape Crisis, Safer Schools, they are all naming you.
Okay, based on what though? That is what you need. That's the missing connector. They are naming you, and they are correct because it can't just be that, oh, people said a thing. Like, people can say whatever they want. It's you as the journalist who needs to find that connecting piece and prove that it is, in fact, what Andrew Tate says that is creating the issues that you're saying he's causing. When did that not become just standard journalistic practice? When? So he says all of these institutions are naming people because they need boogeymen. Exactly. That's my point. Exactly. Hit the nail on the head. Exactly that. You know what all of the other institutions said about a thing? That we should all get jabbed because it would stop transmission.
Oh, hell no.
That was not right, was it? David Banner said, the National Police Chief? You mean the propagandist? I like that one. Oh, man. Good one, good one, good one.
As being behind an epidemic of misogyny, even amongst primary school children.
The idea that I made primary school children misogynistic because I own a nice car. Is that your argument?
It's the misogyny that comes along with it.
Oh, she's doubling down on that. She's saying because you have a nice car, wait, what? We gotta see what really is going on here.
Actually do that. And then you're going to sit here and say, oh shit, I'm a misogynist because my content.
Oh yeah. Hell yeah. You are on point there. He's like, all right, I'm starting to feel this a little bit. I'm starting to see, it's like when, in fighting, UFC fights, that sometimes the first round, especially you got two strikers, they're just kind of dancing around each other. Like, all right, just trying to get your timing, a little jab there. But by round two, you've got the timing, you settle in. You're like, all right, I got this. Let's do this.
Taken out of context. If you refuse to watch anything at length and understand it, then that's what's going to happen.
The National Police Chiefs League for Violence Against Women, the NSPCC, Rape Crisis, Safer Schools, they are all naming you as being behind an epidemic of misogyny, even amongst primary school children.
The idea that I made primary school children misogynistic because I own a nice car. Is that your argument?
It's the misogyny that comes along with it.
Oh,
it's the misogyny that comes along with it. So then why bring up the car? What does the car have to do with it? Why not just say it's the misogyny that's making people misogynists?
Owning a nice car is misogynist.
No, it's the misogyny that comes along with it.
How does misogyny come along with owning a nice car?
Because you have an image of financial
I'm glad you're answering my questions now. We finally got the dynamic.
You have an image of financial
You're answering my
success.
questions, as you should.
Excuse me. You have an image of financial success, but it comes along with attitudes towards women that are really problematic.
Why?
Such as? Exactly.
Attitudes towards women is that women should be protected and provided for, and I've said that at length. In fact, I've said that over 50 times online. You never mention it. I say that my girlfriend doesn't have to work unless she wants to. I take care of her. I die to protect a woman. I've talked about how I've stood up and faced a knife to protect a woman.
And in return, you want authority over her in the way you have over a child or a dog.
Absolutely not. I've said that women should be protected and provided for. And
in return, you want authority over her, because if you have responsibility for someone like a child or a dog, you say,
David, yes. Yes, there is. But ain't nobody gonna talk about that has any play. Ain't nobody gonna talk about that.
You have authority over them.
If you want to go down this argument, we'll go down this nuanced argument.
Let's
I said
do
that
it.
if I have responsibility for her safety, I should have a degree of authority over her safety. Meaning,
so that's the if I have the if I have responsibility over her protection, I have let's just I want to make sure we're all on the same page. We're all on the same page.
You say you have authority over them.
If you want to go down this argument, we'll go down this nuanced argument. I said that if I have responsibility for her safety, I should have a degree of authority over her safety. Meaning, Meaning, and let me
a degree of authority over her safety.
explain my point. If I'm the one who has to fight and die to protect her, I'm the one who decides how we walk home. I'm the one who decides the route we take. Because it's unfair for her to say, I want to walk through the most dangerous neighborhood in the world, but you have to face the knives. That's what I've said. And then you're going to sit here and pretend I'm trying to treat women like dogs, which is garbage. Every single man in the world who loves this woman understands that he has to protect her. And every single woman in the world likes the idea of a man who would protect her. If you were to say to most women home right now, do you want your husband to protect you in a violent attack? They'd say, yeah, of course.
Of course.
Nothing I've said is
If you said to
misogynistic.
most women, would you want to lose authority in the relationship, to not be treated as a free and legal equal to your...
I didn't say that. I said I need to have authority over the route we walk home.
When you
Yeah, having the authority over the route that we walk home is now making you a slave?
What?
Now, again, he's definitely said more than just the fact that, the route home. He definitely has said that, in general, if I'm responsible for your safety, then I should have, a little bit of that authority over you, because I have that responsibility. He absolutely has said that in a general sense. So he's kind of smudging the record here, but gotta fight fire with fire, right?
Haram!
compare women and the authority over women that you believe you should have to having authority over a child or a dog, it's not the same, because a woman is a free legal adult.
Correct.
You're equal.
Free legal adult, my equal. But if I had a girlfriend and we were walking home late at night and I said, let's not walk down that area, it's a bad area, I have to protect you if anything happens, I want to take the long way. And she said, no, I have to walk this way, even though it's the most dangerous route, I must.
Then what?
And then I would say, you're welcome to.
But I'm not following you. Have fun, because you're gonna go down there and oh man, see, this is an issue. I'm not pointing, picking on you, Jeff, but everybody knows what misogyny is. Everybody knows what misogyny is. But misandry, that's just an accepted part of our society. We're just supposed to deal with it. We're just supposed to man up, right? But I thought that was toxic masculinity. And this is exactly why we need that figurehead. Even if that figurehead is not perfect, we need somebody to, personally, I think I'm good, but I'm 33 years old. If you're 15 and you don't have a father, which is a lot of 15-year-olds today, this is better than nothing. Definitely better than nothing. It says, so I'm assuming that since we only have seen Tate's footage, that the BBC interview hasn't or won't be released. That's what I understood. I didn't hear specifically, but that's pretty safe to assume. But it'll be really interesting to see if they do put out their own cut. But I mean, after this, I don't see what would be the point. Unless they're really going to just air it like this and have their own people commentating kind of like what I'm doing. And maybe even with her being like, oh, I should have said this. I wasn't expecting him to be so overbearing and this and that. And they can make it work if they wanted to. But I assume that ain't nobody going to see this. That's not on Rumble.
You could do it. You're a free and legal equal, but I'm not going to walk with you and protect you. I think that I should be able to decide for you. Because I have an obligation. My obligation as a man is to protect and provide for females. Everything I'm talking about is traditional gender roles, which 10 years ago, less than 10 years ago, would not be considered outlandish, would not be considered crazy, would not be considered dangerous or misogynistic. The world has changed, and a lot of people haven't changed with the world. Please understand, there's a lot of women at home watching this right now who like the idea of a man sticking up for them, protecting them, and providing for them. And just because the world has gone crazy and the legacy media has gone crazy, most people at home are still relatively sane. And these are the people who are going to write in the comments that Andrew isn't saying anything that's outlandish.
All right, new poll. New poll is up. This
the whole world believes these things.
This is better or worse? Is it better or worse for Tate's situation? Now that we kind of, we're about halfway in, we've seen where this is going, what it's like. Do you think it's better for his situation? Is it helping his situation, or is this going to hurt him in the long run? What is this? What is this?
They come in, they smile, they shake their hands, and then they read one coffee line excerpts from Black Hole.
It's fine.
I want to hear that again. Let's see if we can.
And just because the world has gone crazy and the legacy media has gone crazy, most people at home are still relatively sane. And these are the people who are going to write on the comments that Andrew isn't saying anything that's outlandish.
All right. So we got to change the camera. Probably just give Lucy a little break to be like, okay, what should we do? And that's where this person, Where's Waldo, comes in. All right, so let's try. I want to try and listen to whoever is like back in talking to Tate.
The whole world believes these things.
Somebody said, I don't know if I believe those things.
I don't know why. I told you. Same as twice. I told you. They come in, they smile, they shake their hands, and then they read one funny line that comes from Black Roll.
It's fine.
So it sounded, this could be completely wrong. I'm just listening to this with you guys. So it sounded like somebody from the BBC said, well, I don't know if I believe those things, talking about just gender roles in general. And then it sounded like Tristan, Andrew Tate's brother, was there being like, they're trying to do this, just kind of hyping him up. I don't know. Jeff said the first part was worse. Starting to get better, I think. Okay, so yeah, overall, is it overall? Obviously, we're only halfway through. But if it continues to go in this direction, is it going to help or is it hurt? Going to be better or worse?
It's fine.
That's what it seems like. Tristan's saying like, oh, they're doing this. You got to watch out. You shouldn't be doing this anymore.
I'm having a nice conversation with you. I'm enjoying it.
See?
It's no problem.
Yep, that's exactly. I bet you that's exactly what happened. Tristan was like, "Bro, shit, this is not going well. You need to be out of here." Or either that or his legal team. But his legal person, it sounded like, was a woman before, so I don't know. But somebody was definitely like, "Bro, just cut out right here." And he was like, "Nah, I got this. We're having a nice conversation."
It's been fun so far. It's fine. We good?
Yes.
Tell me when.
We good.
No, we didn't stop. No.
I can
Behind
do
the
that.
scenes at BBC.
If a man broke into your house and you want your husband to make
Sorry, I didn't realize he was going to start talking at that exact moment.
you when?
Do you want to clap again?
Yes, no, we didn't stop. No.
I can do the clap. Now we good?
No.
If a man broke into your house, wouldn't you want your husband to protect you?
There's a difference between conservative values and emotional control.
Just
coercive
answer the
control.
question. That was a direct yes or no question. They've already gotten into, and I know I made the point about like they're not having a conversation, but they've gotten into the conversation and he even addressed it. I'm glad you're answering my questions. I'm glad we're having a conversation, and it was working better for Lucy's, for her, like what she's attempting to do. It helped her out just as much as it was helping him. So then, very simple question. Wouldn't you want a husband who, if somebody broke in, that you would want him to protect you? Well, conservative values and blah, 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 blah.
I'm not surprised, motherfucker.
Dodging questions. Jess says, for sure, nothing coming out that's consequential. Fair enough. Yeah, that's, so far, at least. So far, but good point, Jeff. Good point. All right. So that's her. Let's actually, I do think that it's important when people are dodging questions, you have to pin them down. You have to pin them down because it's not just about, respect. It's not just about the question. It's about the reason why they're not answering the question. There's a reason why she doesn't answer the question. It's not like she doesn't understand English. It's not like she doesn't understand his Bugatti accent. She knows that she would say what he wants her to say. So she's like, well, let's talk about something different.
If a man broke into your house, wouldn't you want your husband to protect you?
Just say yes or no.
There's a difference between conservative values and emotional control, coercive control.
We're talking about protection now, and I'm saying if someone broke into your house, would you want your husband to protect you?
Pin them
It's not
down.
about conservative values or protection. It's what you're demanding in return for that.
Well, I'll give you this. I don't know who your husband is. I don't know if he would stand up to protect you or die for you, but I'll give you this.
Like, you date a cock beta.
If someone broke into this house right now and was a homicidal maniac, I would expect me and the other men in this room to stand up and face them while you and the other women in this room to protect yourselves. I would actually believe the men should go and engage the attacker. I believe that. And
That's very interesting, and I think that's a powerful statement, and I'm very interested to see how she's going to take that, because this has been very adversarial, even though they're being cordial and polite, is very adversarial. And so he's saying, look, for me, despite all of what's going on right here, if some crazy person came in here, I would believe that it's my responsibility to protect you because you are a woman, because I am stronger than you, because I have the ability to do so, and you may or may not, but I'm willing to put myself in danger to save you, even though you've been a fucking bitch. That's hard to make it look bad, right? Jeff says, it's interesting to me, but I've paid zero attention to Tate. So, I mean, if you're, it's not anything groundbreaking. I would imagine for most men over the age of 35-ish, you're probably not going to learn any like mind-blowing things from an Andrew Tate or any of the red pill spaces. It's really more so for the younger people who haven't been through the life lessons and the heartbreak that teaches you those lessons. So the red pill space in general is or was supposed to be about, on one side, pointing out how the real nature of women versus sugar and spice and everything nice that you see in Disney movies and rom-coms, and then what you should be doing to quote unquote deserve a woman that you desire. Most people, by the time they're fully grown, 35 or older, you've been through enough that you're like, oh, okay, I see the code in the matrix. But at 19, at 22, I mean, I was the biggest simp beta blue pill loser that you could have been.
I'm not surprised.
And without the red pill space, I might still be that guy, or I might be in a relationship where I'm slowly getting disrespected little by little by little by little by little by little, and turning into one of the typical sitcom marriages where both people hate each other, and the dude's too, happy wife, happy life, and she's just like, oh, I can't even deal with him. Like that whole situation. So that's really what the Tate message is about. Stay on your, find your purpose, stay on your purpose, and with that will come women. If you, somebody else said, you'll always chase money. You'll always lose money chasing women, but you'll never lose women chasing money. David says, isn't the real red pill more about accountability of self and how you interact with the world? Yes. And then I got obfuscated with how to frame yourself with women and stuff. Genuine question. So, there's different, like, there's the dating context, and then there's the political context. Both are, there's a big overlap, but they're not the same thing. They're not the same thing at all. So like the fresh and fits of the world, they're not going to be politically red pilled in the sense that they're paying attention to, what's going on with conservative politics or anything like that. But again, it comes from the Matrix. So it really is just about understanding the truth beneath the lies. So there's different context. So I don't know I don't even know if there is such thing as the real red pill. It's a saying that, came to mean, understanding those lies to be lies and how to, deal with that reality. Since I don't, yeah. So that's, I mean, there's definitely the people who speak about it in the political context, and there's people who talk about it more in the dating context. And I mean, you should be red pilled across the board, but it depends on who you're talking to. No problem, brother.
And even though I don't know you, and you've come into my house with a hostile agenda, and you've come here to try and make me look bad, I would still stand up.
He's literally in the middle of saying he would try to save your life despite you being a bitch, and you're interrupting him. Why?
Stand up to protect you. I would still stand up to protect you because I believe that's my role as a man.
I am asking you about things that you have said that have caused major national organizations, including the police.
He should be like, do I need to be here for this? Do I need to be here for this? You already have what you think you know. Why don't you just publish it? What am I doing here? You're not talking at me. You're not talking to me. You're talking at me. We're not talking to each other. We're just saying things in response. It's just, I mean, not good. Not good. Yeah, see, exactly, Jeff. I'm sure you've been through some ish. You've been through some shit that taught you all the things that now, kids that are 15, 19, 20, whatever, they don't necessarily have to go through all of that pain in order to learn those lessons. But the problem is when it goes too far and they don't the average 17-year-old is not going to understand what true love is. When you have a woman who like rides for you, like you've just not lived enough to be able to see what that looks like. And so thinking, we were just talking about the Dunning-Kruger effect. So if you think that, oh, I understand women because I listen to Andrew Tate, that message needs to be refined before you're ready. But you would understand, okay, this is what I should be doing when I go out into the world and try to either, accomplish whatever it is I'm trying to accomplish or attract the woman I'm trying to attract. This is how I should be doing things. And then you make mistakes there, but you are able to recognize what those mistakes are. Somebody like me who didn't find the red pill until I was like 30, I just didn't know. And so I would do things wrong and I would do the same wrong things over and over and over and over and just be like, too attentive and just always, like anything. We're all always by our phone. Nobody exists under the age of 40. Nobody is ever outside of arm's length from their phone. But if you always answer a text immediately when you get it, then she's going to be like, oh, this loser has nothing to do but talk to me. And she's going to lose respect for you. And I just didn't know that. I'm just like, all right, I have my phone. You texted me, I'm answering. And so it's about understanding where the problem behaviors are and how to identify them as they are hurting for you. Come on, guys. Only 2 votes on the poll. Let's split that 50-50. Come on. Click a damn button, you know what I mean? We gonna play or what are we doing here? What are we doing here?
To worry about you by name. That's what I'm asking you
It's
about.
not what I say.
It's not about whether you protect your partner or not. It's about what you have said.
Isn't it, though?
Caused such concern in the UK. And I want to put it
Such as?
to you that you don't really care about the harm it causes.
That's not true.
Because
That's not true.
Making controversial statements like this online has made you a lot of money.
Okay, so
That ain't a lie. No lie detected there.
first thing, I genuinely am a force for good in the world. You may not understand that yet, but you will eventually. And I genuinely believe I'm acting under the instruction of God to do good things, and I want to make the world a better place. I genuinely believe my legacy is a good legacy, and I believe that eventually, when the legacy media catches up, they're going to understand I'm a good, positive influence. I'm not interested in damaging the world for money, because if I was interested in damaging the world for money, I could have sold drugs, or I could make rap music and encourage everyone to stab each other like all the drill artists do.
Or you could make controversial statements online that attract a lot of followers who you then direct to your website.
I could make.
She ain't wrong. She ain't wrong. There's many ways to profit off of simps. And that's, that's the perspective she's coming in with. So, I mean, you have to be able to dissuade her of that notion. Both of these people are not doing well in this conversation. And I'm giving Tate a little bit of leeway because of the fact that, there's a lot riding on. The stakes are very high. This isn't just a conversation for him. And I don't know who this lady is. So this is my only my only knowledge of who or what she is. But this ain't it. David said, red pill has been a thing since I've been a teenager, and I've been aware of it, but a lot of things I read about it as a younger man made it seem like fictional false prophet stuff, so it turned me off to the ideology entirely. I mean, that's going to be any ideology. That's going to be any ideology. There's people who, again, back to the Dunning-Kruger effect. You take any idea, people are going to think that they know it better than they do, and then they could, be an authority on it. And that's, that's with anything. That's with the church. That's with the trans community. That's with everything. That's everything. That's something across the board. $50 Patreon for Hustler University from the Top G himself. Yep. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. See if having been a simp so recently, only four-ish years ago, I was the simp of all simps. Well, maybe not a simp, but I was just really beta. So I wasn't like buying, I wasn't like using OnlyFans or stuff like that. So I think you have to like be spending money. But certainly with my time, I was a simp. I was definitely just blue pilled. I was just like a beta. And there's some people who made some money off me.
Where they pay.
I could make
to
jokes.
learn how to be
Sure.
like
I
you.
mean, I could make jokes online. Who doesn't?
I was just gonna say, well, let's also point out that there's nothing wrong with making money off of people on the internet. Many people do it in many different ways. So just because you're on the internet making money doesn't mean you're doing something untoward.
I mean, I could make a
Are
joke
you
online.
saying that all the controversial things you've said are jokes?
No, I'm saying that these organizations and the
I
BBC
know.
are going to sit here and pretend that I am the face of damaging the youth is absolutely garbage. It's completely disingenuous.
It makes
And the
money.
reason
I'm sorry, we have agreed to do an interview where you are going to ask questions that are going to give us the opportunity to clarify some things. These are very loaded questions.
sorry.
And so far, I'm sorry, I have raised this and I'm talking right now.
Oh, so it sounds like a lawyer. It's like you agreed to have a conversation and these and allow for the clarification of answers, and these are very loaded. And then it sounds like somebody else tried to tell the lawyer to stop. And she's like, "I'm talking right now." All right, let's listen. Let me actually turn this up a little bit. See.
So, these are very loaded questions.
So these are very loaded questions,
And this is not what we discussed. And this is
and this is not openly discussed.
not a conversation that we agreed
Not a
Very good,
conversation.
but the questions
You're
are
sitting there,
our-
you're sitting there and just accusing, we're not here to face new allegations.
You're sitting there and just accusing him.
This has all been discussed, answers have been provided, so if we could please move on from this side of the interview, I would appreciate it.
So basically, she's saying asked and answered. Jeff says, when I was a kid, the equivalent of red pill meant watching John Wayne movies. Yeah, it says I'm joking, but it's sort of. And that's exactly right. That's exactly right. The idea of what is the archetypal man that you want and follow that. That's kind of I totally.
I would like to hear what Andrew has got to say about the fact that when you make
Would you know? Kind of seems more like you want to see his reaction to what you have to say. But
controversial statements, it attracts people to follow you, and then you direct them to your website where they pay you a monthly fee to learn how to be like you. And so the more controversial statements you make, the more money you get.
The fact that that's the path you've outlined to one, my online university, and two, my presence on the internet. The fact that you believe that's the path just shows you've done absolutely zero research. Genuinely zero research.
mhm.
Okay, so how many of the people who sign up for Hustlers University come to you through your social media?
Why is that relevant? Why is that relevant? I don't understand what if it was 100%? 100% of the people that give me money for anything come through social media. What the fuck does that mean? Nothing. What you should be doing is seeing how, so what is it that you are trying to do? Ask the questions. Stop trying to win arguments and just have a conversation. Every situation, it will behoove you. Stop trying to win arguments and just engage the conversation.
Genuinely zero research.
How
And I-
many of the people who sign up for Hustlers University come to you through your social media where you direct them to the website?
And Lucy, I encourage you to go out there, do some genuine research.
Another
watch
one.
my
Could you
videos.
answer my
Of
question?
course, watch my videos at length and truly understand what I'm doing.
And again, bad response. It's not for her to go and watch the content if she doesn't like the content. She's right in front of you asking these questions. So instead of just saying, oh, it's out of context, you don't get it, you can explain it. This is what she's here for. Explain the difference between what she thinks and the reality of what you're trying to say. Instead of just scolding, well, you should go watch a video. That's like schoolyard bullshit.
How many of the people who sign up for Hustlers University at $49.99 a month come to you because they see your social media comments.
There's an online school called Hustles University, which I don't own. I influence for, along with many other influencers, and they sign up via a website which I don't own. And once again, that's nothing to do with me. And you're going to sit here and say that I made a joke. I made a joke online 4 years ago because a woman said that she owned her man's car, and you made a joke, and that means that you, because you're Bugatti, are the most misogynistic, dangerous man in the world.
Yeah, right? David said her point is sort of goofy because mainstream media does similar-ish with rage baiting and sensationalized headlines. Yeah, but rules for thee, but not for me. It's okay when they do it because they're the news. They're the trusted name in British news. And but he's just some guy. Some guy shouldn't be able to reach this many people. Some guy.
How dare
That's
you?
our role. That's our role to be influencing people to think the way that we want them to think. Not yours.
Going down a path of absolute insanity. It's not true. None of this is true. I don't hurt people. I don't harm people. I'm genuinely a positive influence.
You are renowned.
I'm renowned
for offensive and controversial.
That's not why I'm renowned.
Such as use examples. This is why this conversation is just looping. Like, well, you say bad things. No, I say good things. Well, people say that you say bad things. Well, actually, if you listen to the things that I say, they're good. That's been this entire conversation. Really? Nobody else is going to vote on the poll? I know you guys don't answer questions in the chat when I ask, but like, you really can't just click a button.
I'm actually renowned for helping young men, because we talk about there's a men's mental health crisis, and we talk about we pretend to care that men are upset, but as soon as I discuss men's issues, it's misogynistic. It doesn't have to be gender. Just because I believe men have a point of view and men have rights and men are allowed to think and believe and act a certain way that helps them internally, that doesn't mean it's anti-female. In fact, I believe it's actually pro-female. I think when a man is true to his influence and true to his essence, and he's good within himself, he's a positive influence in the world, and he's positive for the women around him.
So
just because I discuss men's issues.
A good man is a positive influence for the people around him, and specifically the women that he is dealing with. That's a great point. You don't, even if you don't think that what Andrew Tate has been saying leads to that end, you can't deny what he just said. So then you have to say, okay, I agree with that. That's obviously true. A better man is going to be better for himself and the people around him. Now, do you think that this line achieves that goal? That's how you have this conversation. I'm just blown away and maybe a little jealous that she got flown out. She got flew out to Romania, to the Tate estate to do this. Where's my plane ticket? I will get everything you need out of him. I will get everything you need. But this, what is this? What even is it? David says, that's really esoteric, but yes, that's why so many news companies are quick to denounce him, right? Yup. It's our space to influence the masses, and he's doing it so much cheaper and more efficiently. Bingo. You got it. You got it. I mean, really? Are we going to talk about how the news sensationalizes things and says more controversial things to get more clicks? Like, that's the entire internet. Welcome to the internet. Shout out to Bo Burnham.
People say, oh, you're anti-woman. I'm not anti-woman. I love women.
Why are so many women saying that when their boyfriends start following you,
they're not.
They experience more control?
So many.
Because the men are getting more powerful, and now she doesn't have a weak beta that will just do whatever she says because he thinks that there's no other way of life except to just do everything she says so that he can once in a while, she'll touch his pee-pee. That's why. Because they want the control. They want you to be a broken down beta. They want you to be a broken down loser so that they can control you. Of course. Of course. You don't like. That's like asking two people who are trying to come to a business deal. Why the person on one side doesn't like the people who are helping the other side?
What?
Obviously. No pause. No pause. Fly me out. Let me get flued out. I'll get you anything you need. Oba says, it is not illegal to tell men that it is all right to want to be the dominant person in the relationship. Exactly. Exactly. So if we're not going to be able to talk about the actual real situations, which, makes sense. It's ongoing. Well, if we're not able to talk about those things, and we're only able to talk about this, and this stuff is not bad, what is it that you're trying to do? What is the goal here, Lucy? What is your best case scenario? Before you walked in the door to the Tate estate, what is it that you were crossing your fingers and hoping, okay, if this goes the way that I want it to go, it will be... I don't think that you ever even thought about that. And that makes you a bad journalist.
They experience
How many?
more abuse.
How many?
Enough.
No way she just said that. I don't believe it. I don't believe it.
Is saying that when their boyfriends start following you,
They're not.
they experience more control.
So many.
They experience
How many?
more abuse.
How many?
Enough.
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 What?
Enough for what? Enough for me to care that you are enough to...
What? Oh, hell no.
Enough.
Well, it's the first time I've heard of it. So, in fact...
One is too many.
Oh, of course, yeah. So...
One woman who's unhappy with her boyfriend because of his YouTube preferences, that's too many. That's where that's the BBC.
Shut up!
Yeah, exactly. Enough. She said, well, it's enough. They were talking about women who get unhappy because their boyfriends start to listen to Andrew Tate. And she's saying, it's so many, so many, so many. And Tate's like, who? How many? Well, enough. Enough for what? And then she followed up with, well, one is too many. If even one woman is ever unhappy, it's your fault. What are you talking about? Yeah, exactly. I mean, maybe this theoretically was going to be a big story. So, I mean, they couldn't have sent out, the D team, at least the B team on this. But that's sad. If this is the best they got, the BBC is going to not last long.
In fact, I've seen thousands and thousands of comments and have endless emails from women praising the fact that their sons are listening to me, praising the fact that their husbands
Things I'm saying.
I've seen that too. That I have seen with my own eyes. I've seen on TikTok, on YouTube, on Instagram, people saying, everybody was saying these are like older to middle-aged women saying, everybody was saying about all this. Andrew Tate was so bad, this, that. And I was so scared when my son started listening, but now he's being more responsible. He's being more respectful. He's doing all this stuff. I've seen that. I haven't seen any of the other things that she has alleged. And because I've covered Andrew Tate a lot, then, I'm the prime person that would see that kind of stuff. It's me and the average 17-year-old. Both should be, if Andrew Tate puts out anything, it should be in front of our faces by the algorithm. So I'm with David. Which women?
Not worry.
It would worry me if I was genuinely damaging the world. But for you to sit here and say, Andrew, you've become the most Googled man in the world, you have billions of views, and one is now saying that her husband is not the same man she wants him to be.
And that's too much. One woman. Because we don't have anything in society, right? We don't have anything in society that tells women to be completely different once they're already married. There's nothing like Cosmopolitan magazine. There's nothing like The View. There's nothing like even the Steve Harvey show, who's a fucking blue pill traitor. Who just, you're so strong, girl. Do whatever you need. You don't deserve that. He's just playing video games after he works a 12-hour shift. No, he needs to come home and give you. But Andrew Tate, oh, that's dangerous. because we have women self-deleting in record numbers. Wait, oh, that is men, not women. Oprah said she's an ideologue, and there is no place for that in journalism. Well said. And if I didn't see that you'd already said it, I would have said it. Unfortunately, this is the norm in journalism, not the exception. Bingo! Spot on, brother. Unfortunately, spot on.
When thousands and thousands of people are saying the opposite, well, then I would say that's...
I presented you with case after case after case, with quote after quote after quote of people who are genuinely concerned about the impact you're having, and you brush it off as if it's nothing.
No, what you have done is come here with an agenda. You come here with loaded questions. You come here with things taken out of context. You come here with things that you don't understand are satirical. And then you're going to also sit and say that one woman said that her boyfriend changed when he watched one of your videos. And then I don't know what you expect me to say to that. That's
sarcastic and jokes.
No,
that's how you explain the comments you make.
For you to sit down.
Would you like to apologize for any of them?
For you to sit down. For you to sit down.
He's like, I'd like to take this opportunity to apologize to absolutely no one. Hold a little, Conor McGregor there.
It's fine. No, it's fine. It's easy. For you to sit down and say that one woman said that her boyfriend watched an Andrew Tate video and now he won't do the dishes. Or whatever your argument is, and that I'm somehow the worst, most dangerous man in the world because I have a car. It's just disingenuous. And I'm enjoying this interview very much because this shows the world. It's great. It shows the world the truth about the legacy media because they beg me for interviews. They beg me. You have been begging me for months. Please, we need to be relevant. And then you come here, you go to questions, trying to paint a picture of me, which is completely and utterly false. I am a good, positive influence for the world. The things I teach men are stoicism, discipline, self-respect, hard work, obeying authority, listening to your fight coach, working hard in school, making as much money as possible in your job. If you actually watch the things I say, if you actually watch my comments about women, I've done long...
That's hard to argue with. That's hard to argue with. All of those things seem like pretty good things for young men to be understanding. Let's listen to it one more time.
Obeying authority, listening to your fight coach, working hard in school, making as much money as possible in your job. If you actually watch the things I say, if you actually watch my comments about women, I've done long podcasts for hours long about females, talking about protecting for them, providing for them, how I believe a woman should be treated in a relationship.
How dare you?
Yeah, and Dave Vanner says, imagine the outrage if someone interviewed the Kardashians about, well, I don't like how my girlfriend is acting because of you thoughting around Instagram.
How dare you?
It would be the most, they would bring out body shaming, they would bring out patriarchy, they would bring out misogyny, they would bring out everything. This is a fantastic point, David. This is a fantastic point. Imagine the opposite. It's hard to, because they would never do it. She literally put out a sex tape from her mom. Her mom put out her sex tape.
Haram!
But he's the awful one. He's the one with all the influence. Okay.
I've done all of this, but you don't watch any of it, and then you come here and ask me to answer questions I've answered at length thousands of times.
Since you came out of custody, there seems to have been a lot about your charity work.
Correct.
On your social media.
I've always done the charity work, but now I'm promoting it.
There seems to be a real shift.
Yeah.
I wonder what's behind that.
Well, I've always done the charity work.
Why even do that? If you're trying to imply that he's only doing it to look good, then I don't get it. Like, do you think he's stupid? Do you think he doesn't know what you're implying? Just like, so you've been doing a lot of charity work recently. Tell me about that. And then he says, yeah, I've been doing this. Oh, how long have you been doing that? And then when he says, oh, I've only been doing it for, since I got arrested, then that's your gotcha moment. But you have to earn it. You don't just get it. The entitlement. Well, I'm the journalist, so you answer my questions. Like, what? Bitch, you're in my house. You begged me for this interview. I'm doing you a favor. Have any of you, let me know in the comments, replay gang in the chat here, has any of you purposely watched anything from the BBC in the last 12 months? I'm going to guess no. So we only have eyes on the BBC because because of Andrew Tate right now. It says exactly. She literally made her millions off being a big but loose woman that sold sex. Her only tangible skill. I will stand up for her in the sense that she is a good business person. She absolutely knows how to manage a brand. Love it or hate it, that is a brand. And if if the Indian Jesus was that strong of a brand, talk about like who everybody knows. I mean, you can't pay for branding like the Kardashian name. I mean, just like the Trump name, it doesn't. There's something there. Respect where it is due.
I've been doing the charity work for years. I believe that it's my legacy to leave a positive influence on the world, and I've been doing charity work for over 5 years. Post my incarceration, my unfair, unjust incarceration, may I add. Post that, I've made it more clear the charity work I'm doing. But this is, once again, very interesting. I spend $25 million a year feeding children, men, male children, and female children in Turkey.
What? You give food to little boys when there's little girls who are starving and grown women?
What?
Misogynist. Misogynist.
Syria and Iran and Iraq. I literally spend $25 million a year feeding children, and I'm still the worst man in the world because 4 years ago I made a sarcastic comment?
Because some people would look at that and say, okay, so before you got money from attracting people to your website by making controversial comments, but that might have got you into trouble. And so now you're looking for a new market.
Some people might say that, but then when they find out that he's been doing it forever, which I'm sure he would have the receipts for, then they'd be full of shit. So it's your job as the journalist to report that, oh, actually, even though it seems like he's been pushing even though he's been pushing this more, that it's something that he's been doing, he just didn't feel the need to put it all out there. But now that the whole world thinks he's an arpist, makes a little more sense that you would highlight the things that you were already doing that are good. David Banner says, only time I've watched the BBC intentionally is for David Attenborough Nature Docs. Hey, there's a new one coming out on Netflix this month. Our Planet 2. I didn't know Our Planet was a thing, so I'm definitely gonna have to check that out. And I'm always looking for stuff that is very visual that I can put on the TV while I'm editing, because I just have to listen to the video, and it's very hard to watch shows and stuff. But so. Good one to check out. I was just watching a video. Shout out to Flick Connection. Put out videos all the time on a good list of what's coming out on Netflix this month. Best movies on Amazon. Most screwed up movies on this platform. Funniest movies on that stuff. Go check them out.
You're looking for a new market of followers who are attracted by a different sort of
Okay.
Male children and female children. In Turkey and Syria and Iran and Iraq, I literally spend $25 million a year feeding children, and I'm still the worst man in the world because 4 years ago I made a sarcastic comment?
Because some people would look at that and say, okay, so before you got money from attracting people to your website by making controversial comments, but that might have got you into trouble. And so now you're looking for a new market. You're looking for a new market of followers who are attracted by a different sort of persona.
I've always done the charity work, so that is obviously incorrect. And I've always done the charity work, so you're wrong, firstly. I believe that if you have a lot of wealth, you should help people, and I'm helping people. I also think it's very, very interesting that you could not find another celebrity in the UK or anywhere else who's spending £25 million a year feeding children in war-torn countries. I'm doing that, and I've been doing that for a long time without even mentioning it. I never even said it. And now that I've said it, people are going to attack me for it and say that it's disingenuous. The person in Sudan who's eating the meal, do you think they believe it's disingenuous? No, I think they feel pretty good that Andrew Tate fed them. And to sit here and say that I'm a bad person now because I'm manipulating charity, because I'm using charity, I'm just trying to do good in the world. That's all I've ever done.
Another one.
When women speak out against you online.
See, and she doesn't even have I have never even taken a journalism class. I've never taken a broadcasting class. I'm just a normal person who understands when conversations are going well and when they're not going well. You just accused him of doing all this for show, and you are flat out wrong, and you have nothing? You have nothing to say, oh, okay, well, that's nice. That's good that you're doing that. Nothing? Okay. That's how you want to roll. That's how you want to do this. I mean,
disagree with what you say. They describe being bombarded with rape threats, with death threats, trolling by your followers.
Saying people who disagree with him online get, you know, the Tate fans will go after them.
Would you like to say anything to your followers about
Sure.
how to behave in that situation?
Absolutely, correctly. I would love to do that. First things first, I've yet to see a female stand up and argue with me online. I don't ever see hardly any. The only women who message me agree with me. Secondly, I don't think that anybody who disagrees with me, male or female, should be trolled. I don't think they should be insulted or attacked. I think the ideas should be discussed openly and fairly and maturely. Doesn't matter if a man agrees with me or disagrees with me, or a female. I don't think my followers should come along and attack her. And if my followers are doing that, I'm upset by that. But let's make a very important clarification. That's not my followers. That's the enemy. If you were to log into any video game lobby, I don't play video games, and someone were to sit there and say something stupid, they would be trolled with similar comments. That's the unfortunate reality of the internet as a whole. That's nothing to do with me. But I encourage all of my followers to engage in open discourse and be fair and honest and talk in a way which is mature. There's no need to troll anybody, male or female.
Unlike the way you, Lucy, are behaving right now.
Okay.
I wonder if it'd be worth giving Andrew one more opportunity to consider whether or not he would like to apologise or give an indication of how he feels about the allegations that he has negatively influenced young people in the UK. And secondly, I think we should put on record.
So the first thing was, what does he want to address or apologize for the allegations that he says are not true? So that's a dumb question.
That this interview is taking place in your house because you're under house arrest.
Or if he wants to address that the interview is taking place in his house because he's under house arrest.
Not for that, then we would have chosen another location, I'm sure. We would have negotiated that between us.
And if not, then we would have gone somewhere else.
What?
This is highbrow stuff, guys. This is the top of journalism in the world. I mean, maybe I should just go into news. I would be the next Tucker by the end of the year. If this is my competition, because there's some great YouTubers out there, but if this is all they got, I might be in the wrong business. David Banner says it totally feels now that the intention of the BBC would have been to get Tate to yell at this woman, then probably splice the clips out of context. Yep. You got it.
So I think that's just worth it.
Okay. So just to put on the record then, you've said that you've invited us into your house.
Correct.
We're here because you're under house arrest.
Correct.
If you were free to leave, we would have negotiated a more neutral setting.
Oh, okay, great. But guess what? Things aren't different, and you are in my house. What are you saying? If I was a man and you were a woman, then like, what are you talking about?
Don't you think, as the BBC, it would be very interesting to come here and discuss the fact that I was put in a dungeon for 92 days and then locked in house arrest without charge? Don't you think that's a far more interesting conversation than YouTube snippets? Don't you think that would be interesting?
You're here under house arrest because there's an ongoing investigation into rape and human trafficking allegations against you.
Correct. I've been incarcerated without charge. And don't you think
The rape allegation
it's been dropped?
has been incarcerated.
Correct. So I'm incarcerated without charge, and I think that'd be a far more interesting conversation than, I guess, Julian Assange is incarcerated without charge, and nobody's interested in that either. So
Based. Fuck. Sorry, I didn't mean to be right in that minute, but based. That is how you handle this situation. Put yourself in the same category as Julian Assange, because there's people who hate Julian Assange for reasons, I guess, but there's a lot of people who see him as a martyr, and absolutely, I'm one of them. That was brilliant. Let's just take a little.
correct. So I'm incarcerated without charge, and I think that'd be a far more interesting conversation than, I guess, Julian Assange is incarcerated without charge, and nobody's interested in that either. So if you actually wanted to do some genuine journalism investigation, you could talk about the fact that an innocent man who is yet to be charged with a crime has had.
And she's like, nah, that's gay.
Is liberty deprived of him. And I think that would be a far more interesting angle than talking about me being the most dangerous man in the world because I own a car.
And this question about schools being very worried about.
And again, just gloss over him and just whatever's next on your notebook. This is a bad showing for her personally and for the BBC at large. Jess says, yep, it definitely feels like a hit job. Tate actually ended well. He may be guilty, but I don't know. He did good. He definitely did well in this, in the latter half of this. And we still got, maybe we still got the timeline thingy is weird. Is very different on Rumble. So we only got a couple minutes left, but I mean, this could have gone very, very, very bad. And I don't know that there's nothing in here that is going to be incriminating is a strong word, but I don't know that there's anything. I don't know that there's not something in this interview that would, hurt him in court or anything. So that's going to be remain to see. But I do think that of all the ways this could have gone, definitely could have gone worse.
Influence. Yeah. Boys in primary school, or boys as young as 11 are quoting you at school, attacking girls, refusing to respect female teachers. Yeah. Would you like to say anything about that?
I'd like to say a lot. First things first, as I've repeatedly said, and the only reason I keep repeating it is because I'm sure this interview will be edited. I am a positive force in the world, and I teach children discipline. I teach the world discipline, male or female, of any age. And a lot of women listen to me as well. 40% of the people who listen to me are actually female. Second,
40%? 40%? That's wild. What is mine? How do I do this? Analytics. All right. Let's take a look into my personal shit. Audience. Okay. Look at this. God, what? Hold up. Wait a minute. Guys. 65% of you are not subscribed. Come on. I know it's you guys in the replay gang. Because my boys who are here right now in the chat, we got Jeff, we got David, we got Opus, all the people who are coming. I know they're subscribed. So please, it's just one click of the button. 65.7% of you. All right. Okay. But anyway, age and gender. So I got 15%. Can we see that? Oh, wait. What the hell just happened? We got 15% female over here. So, not quite. I'm screwing everything up here. Hold on. Okay. So interesting. That is pretty significant. 40%. 40% of women on where am I? 40% of women? That's a lot of women. That's crazy. Do we read this one already? Just I don't think it will affect public opinion. I wonder if the court or government will react to it. That's what I'm wondering as well. Go. Play.
I do understand with my massive influence, and I am now.
I thought he was going to say with my massive cock. I don't know why. I got cock on the mind. Pause.
One of the most influential people on the planet. That I do have to be slightly more careful with things I say. I'm not going to disagree with that. The idea that I said something 5 years ago on a video that got 300 views.
So what do you mean, being slightly more careful?
I'll give you an example. Some of the jokes I made 4 or 5 years ago on a YouTube
hit the poll, guys. Please hit the fucking poll.
Channel that got 300 views. I would no longer make.
Like what?
Like the OnlyFans joke, the one you mentioned repeatedly. When she said, "My man's car is my car," and then she said she did OnlyFans, and I said, "What do you sell on OnlyFans?" She said, "My tits," and I said, "Well, those are your man's tits." As a joke, ha ha ha. Everybody laughed. The fact that I could do that on a podcast 5 years ago. And
wait, do you think my name is David? My name is not David, but I mean, you're welcome. But are you talking to David? I'm very confused.
only got 300 views. Now I understand I'm the most influential man on the face of the planet. I would be more careful with certain things I say. That doesn't mean the things I originally said were genuinely out to harm people.
Do you really believe you're the most influential man on the face of the planet?
I'm the most Googled person on the planet.
Do you believe you're the most influential man on the face of the planet?
Oh, so when he doesn't answer your question directly in the way that you want him to answer it, then you're just going to go right back to it. But when he says something, you just feel fine just going right over it. Okay, all right.
Most Googled man on the planet.
I think we're done.
I think we're done.
Thanks, Lucy. It was enjoyable. Nice to meet you.
Gotcha.
No, it was fun. It was good.
All right, watch how this ends. I saw the end of this. Check this out. Just for our own.
De-mic me. I don't want to damage anything.
De-mic me.
Thank you.
All right, here, I'm gonna full screen this.
Very nice to meet you, Lucy. Thank you. Very nice to meet you.
No handshake. It's like at the beginning of a fight. Are they gonna touch gloves? Or are they not gonna touch gloves? There it is. There it is. The return of Andrew Tate. So, there's a lot there. There's a lot there, and there's a lot of subtlety there. So, I think it's really important. Again, whether or not you're a fan or a hater of Andrew Tate, I think this is a moment where, let's call it pop culture. Pop culture is doing. Something is happening in pop culture. And it is very interesting to see how this is going to play out. And, paying attention to this and paying attention to the steps. Again, even if you're not a fan, I think it's important to understand how our society works. And specifically because it's not in America, then being able to understand how this is going to work in the context that it is and compare that to what we have in this country. So let me know what you guys think. So, David's out. Well, we're all out. So thank you so much for hanging out with me, guys. And a big shout out to Mark Peterson, the sponsor of the stream, along with our good friend, Jeff Pearson, who gifted David a membership. Oh, no. Heads up. Oh, you can't see it. Heads up. We've detected copyrighted audio in your video stream, and you may be temporarily blah, blah, blah. So this is getting blocked. So if anybody wants to send a little something, this is all. That $2.99 is all I'm getting, plus the very nice gift from Jeff. But either way, it's the message that really matters. Thank you so much for hanging out with me, guys. I hope you enjoyed the stream as always. And of course, we are headed over to Discord as every show. Let me know, what did you guys think? What do you think is going to happen next with Andrew Tate? And what do you hope is going to happen? What do you think is going to happen? Let me know. Let me know, guys. Thank you so much for hanging out. Once again, this has been Morty, and I have been your host, Lutch, aka the Indian Jesus, here to resurrect the second coming of common sense. Until next time, guys, we are out of here. Wait, I gotta use this one. We are out of here. Peace.